We're going to go live in about 5 minutes time, and until we do that, we're busy talking to everyone informally as the room fills up. We've got over 400 people busy watching us already. And Dina, we're also going to be talking about pizzas tonight, are we not?
We are, because I think, again, when people think dairy, they think pizza, they think pasta. So yeah, we are definitely going to be making from scratch a pizza tonight. That would be with Frangelicas.
With Frangelicas. So Daniel, you joining us. I'm just going to try get you onto Spotlight here so you can take the main screen. Daniel, everyone knows Frangelicas for its cheesecake.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're going to give that recipe out.
100% not. In fact, we won't even give a recipe out. We decided to do something quite simple and at home tonight.
Fantastic. So you're going to be making pizzas. This is, I don't see a wood burning oven behind you. So is this the sort of pizza that I could make in my own home in my oven?
100%. So we try to keep it as home-based as possible so anybody can do it.
And what sort of pizza are we making?
So tonight on our side, we're going to be making something we call a vegetarian pizza, which is essentially a margarita with slightly less spice and a few other toppings. But this is a base and a sauce and just a method that you can use for any pizza at home. For a margarita, for focaccia bread if you want to leave off the sauce and the cheese, or any Hawaiian if you choose, anything that sparks your fancy.
Fantastic. We're really looking forward to that. So a huge thank you there to you. We look forward to seeing you a little later. The time is about 2 minutes to 8. And Dina, the president decided that he's going to be talking again tonight. Every time we schedule one of these events, he actually starts to talk.
I think he's a bit jealous, actually. I think potentially we might get more viewers than he has had recently.
So we did postpone for him a few nights ago when he was doing his major address to the nation. But tonight he's talking at 7:30 and he's talking just about religious events and a prayer meeting. So we're actually not postponing our event.
Yeah, I think we're able to move on. I think we know the important things. I know people know that booze will be available. Cigarettes won't. You can exercise whenever you want. And I think those are the 3 key takeouts that we got out of the last one.
What did you think of the last speech that he did?
So I don't think it was neither here nor there. I don't think it was mind-blowing. I don't think people have actually now, I think, stopped even watching those addresses and just get the highlights. So it wasn't really much of a movement from level 4 to level 3, although they are opening up some sectors. And again, everyone was worried about the alcohol and the cigarettes, which seemed to be the main concern and the time of exercise. But other than that, it was really him sort of just repeating what he's been through, where we've been as a country, thanking everyone. And yeah, I don't think anything was really a massive revelation to anyone who was watching.
So I want to know, schools are going back next week.
They are indeed. I mean, so that was a big one that he confirmed.
Are you still, are you sending your kids back to school?
So luckily, I don't have to make that choice for next week. I know there are people on our panel who potentially could answer that question. So socially, I know it's great for the kids to go back to school. They've been actually loving their online learning. It's been very, I would actually say, enlightening for them. They've actually become a bit more self-empowered. And I think they're actually really understanding the work. So I think that's been very positive. To go back to school. So there was an entire webinar this evening from a King David perspective on how they're going back to school and what the protocols are, and that it will be a phased approach. So again, I don't have to worry about it immediately, but yes, the children are going to have to actually eventually get back to school.
I'm going to ask Sorel that question. Sorel,
not to put on the spot.
I can't help except putting people on the spot. So Sorel, tell me, are you going to send your kids back to school?
My kids are going back to school. I have twins in grade 7 and they are going back on the 1st. So they seem to, the medical side seems to be saying that they should be going back. So depending on obviously personal circumstances at home amongst the kids. And they cannot wait. They really have missed school. So I think that's been a big learning curve for them, to say that they actually do miss their friends, they miss their teachers, they miss the structure. But yeah, I think the health aspects are obviously of a concern to everybody. I think it's got to be a watch the space. Other countries have gone back to school. I saw 2 schools in Australia have already closed because there's been an outbreak. So hopefully we're in a better position. And I think it's going to be quite daunting for all of us.
Okay, we're in uncharted territories, and we're going to go live in another minute or two. We're just looking for all our panelists. We're at the moment struggling to find Lauren Bulkin and Jody Kruger. Those are 2 people that are on or not on, and we just need to find under what names they're on. So I've got an idea. I'm going to ask everyone I'm going to lower everyone's hands. Dan, I don't know why I can't lower everyone's hands. I'm going to ask both Lauren Bulkin and Jody Kruger just to raise their hands so we can see what they're logged in as. Jody,
Lauren is logged in as not another foodie.
No, can't find there.
I can see Jody Kruger. Howie, have you got Jody?
Yes, I've promoted Jody, but at the same time, she hasn't moved across. Okay. And I don't know if this person's hand up, if that's a 9763. I have no idea if that is in fact Lauren Bulkin or not. So, so should we try and shall we promote that mysterious person and see if they've raised their hands, if Lauren Bulkin magically appears?
Listen, in the spirit of getting back to school, let's all raise our hands.
Okay. So Lauren Bulkin, you'll be happy to know that your username is 9763077240, not your name. I hope that's the pin on your bank account, because I will definitely be trying that.
Can we quickly talk about
Elon Musk's child's name?
much easier. I'm going to see, actually, Lauren, if I can rename you on the panel. So
Howie, sorry, I'm 1 step ahead of you. Sorted.
Okay, fantastic.
And I mean, Dan, talk to us. I think we have to talk to Dan about his hat.
On my hat.
Dan, tell us about your hats.
I love this hat, but I actually was having a bit of a bad Zoom hair day, so I thought let's put on the hat. There we go. You can see it.
Looking very sporty today.
It's actually a great running hat. So I was out walking this morning, and I know that even if it's freezing cold, if I'm out in the sun and I'm not wearing a hat, then I will be baked. So, or half baked. So I didn't feel like that. So that's why. And then the hat is just stuck around the whole day.
Well, Dan, from next week, you can exercise during the hours of warmth, not just during the darkness and freezing cold. But I do want to make an appeal to all the people watching us this evening. You notice how cold it's going to be, -1 in Johannesburg tonight. And I know Cape Town's been having storms. And there are a lot of people who are a lot less privileged than those of us who are watching this evening. So if you belong to a community can, this is the opportunity really to make a donation. If you have any warm clothes at home, any blankets, please make sure that you're donating them to your local community. Let's make sure that while we are staying warm tonight under our thick duvets and our heaters in the northern suburbs of Johannesburg or the southern suburbs of Cape Town or in Sea Point or in Camps Bay, let's make sure that those people who are freezing tonight and hungry tonight are helped during this freezing cold weather. And with that, Dan, I'm going to ask you if you will put all of the panelists back into...
Say hello to Jody quickly.
Oh, sorry, Jody, before we disappear, as Dan is taking everyone back into the audience. Hello, Jody, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Fantastic to see you. And what are you making us this evening?
I'm making teriyaki salmon with a side of Asian slaw.
You are not sitting in your kitchen unless you have a very interesting kitchen.
I do have an interesting kitchen, but I'm not sitting in my kitchen. My Wi-Fi in my kitchen's a little bit wonky, so I decided to take it off-site.
Gina Myers explained to us during our makeup sessions and our bachelor sessions that she has the best lighting in her kitchen. And so she does all of her Zoominars, regardless of the topic. She does that from her kitchen.
It's very clever.
Fantastic, Jody. We'll see you in a few minutes. So Dan is going to put you back into the audience. A welcome and a huge welcome to everyone this evening. Our apologies that the president is going to be interrupting us a little at 7:30. So if you do feel the need to pop across and listen to what he's saying, we will certainly forgive you. But at the present moment, we have approximately 800 people busy watching us for our cooked, baked, half-baked, shaked and baked show, Dina.
Absolutely, at a point where we are all half cooked, half baked, maybe fully cooked and half baked.
So we were asking earlier, why is it that in fact there's so many double entendres when it comes to cooking shows? So we all know that Dan Stillerman is baked, you're half cooked. Who knows who's shaked and baked?
Yeah, and you're literally, I think you're probably shaken, not stirred.
I'm always shaken and a little stirred. Dan, are you a proponent of wake and bake?
Of wake and bake?
Of wake and bake.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay,
Just
good.
Go with it.
I'll go with it. I'm a fan.
Oh, you're right. Maybe you shouldn't admit that in public. So to everyone, welcome on behalf of the Jewish Report. It's so fantastic to see you all this evening. Shavuot is in a few days' time, and it is traditional on Shavuot that we eat dairy food. And Dina, you were explaining to us why a few minutes ago, explain to us why, in fact, the tradition is that we eat dairy on Shavuot.
So obviously there's probably lots of opinions, but the main one that I've always learned is that when it came to, obviously Shavuot signifies the giving of the Torah on Sinai, where we've waited the 7 weeks from Pesach, and where the laws of kashrut weren't actually given over. So in order to sort of differentiate and in order to show that we didn't know the laws, we err on the side of the milk, which is always obviously, we don't have to kill anything as far as I know. And so that's why it's been tradition to always have milk, and the shuls have milk dinners, and it's always been almost like an opportunity, and it's almost like a great chag and excitement to be able to have the milk and the dairy and the chocolates and the ice cream, because even when you have that meat meal, even if you go to the dessert, you always know like, oh, it's just not milk. And when you can have the milk, you get very excited. So it's all about the cheesecake and the blends. I mean, I know I'm already started baking. I've made a cheesecake already. I'm making a carrot cake, making tuna lasagna. So it's just a great chag, and people just love embracing it, especially the kids.
Oh, wow. Dan, are you lactose intolerant like most Jews?
I'm very lactose tolerant.
I'm
quite a fan of my lactose.
I did a DNA test a few months ago, and it turns out I'm lactose intolerant, which is one of the key things to prove that I'm Jewish.
Really?
But
you do persevere still with your dairy. You persevere, Howie.
I certainly do. So on behalf of the Jewish Report, a big welcome this evening. This is, in fact, the 22nd session we've done, Dan. 22nd Zoom session we've done since the start of lockdown. And once again, just to repeat what we do in every show, this wouldn't be possible without the man sitting on your screen, Dan Stillerman, whose life we abused in terrible ways that he couldn't even imagine. So he has been doing Zoom after Zoom, but if you think about it, for 22 sessions, not only has Dan run all the technical side, he's done all the rehearsals, he's done all the emails, he's done all the WhatsApps. He has been the engine that has allowed us all to do this. And not only that, he's been a panelist, he's been a host. His entire life has been turned upside down because of this little mistake he made, which was to say yes when we asked for help. Dan, once again, a huge thank you for everything that you do for us. We are anointing you the best chef in the world award tonight, because every broadcast we give him something. So on Sunday,
I became the GOAT on Sunday.
He was the GOAT on Sunday, greatest of all time. He was also the most valuable player we've ever had. We appointed him the Pope and a saint a while ago. He's been a tzaddik and a mensch. And tonight we crown you with the sort of award that only Ferran Adria could ever have experienced in Spain. Dan, we appoint you of the greatest cook of your generation.
Thank you, Howie.
Big award. That's
honor and a privilege. Thank you. I appreciate it.
To be in the same sentence as Ferran Adria is really a great honor.
Indeed. Or we could just call him the biggest, or maybe make you maybe the biggest stirrer.
Definitely, no, that one definitely goes to me. So on behalf of the Jewish Report, a huge thank you for joining us. And please remember, at these difficult times when advertising has really dried up, we are dependent on you for your generosity and your donations. We want to tell everyone tonight that if you give us a donation of more than 1,000 Rand, this amazing book called Cooked, Dina, have you seen it? It's the most remarkable.
So excited. It's such a great book, and it's got such great authors, obviously.
So Karen Liebman and Joanne Epstein put this book together. They went to some of the best chefs in South Africa, and they got them all to contribute their best recipes in order to raise money for charity. I want you to know that when we had the cooking show a few weeks ago, we said anyone who donates more than 1,000 Rand would get a copy of these books. You know how much Karen Liebman and Joanne Epstein raised for all of us?
How much?
Nearly 250,000 Rand raised in one night, just by giving copies of this book away. What an amazing achievement. So a huge thank you to Karen and to Joanne. Your generosity is absolutely unbounded. It's people like you that really make our community. And we're repeating the offer tonight. If you give more than 1,000 Rand donation to help the Jewish Report continue to publish, to help these webinars continue, Dina gets nothing, I get nothing, Dan gets nothing, but we do have a staff of an editor and a CEO and journalists that we're trying to make sure that the Jewish Report is in fact remaining to publish. I can tell you that this week, for the first time ever, we're doing a digital-only edition, www.sajr.co.za. It is the first time ever that we are doing a digital edition, and you know why? There was 12,000 Rands worth of advertising in this edition. And just to publish the newspaper, just to print it, is 37,000 Rand, plus another 10,000 to distribute it. So it would have cost us 47,000 Rand just to put it on paper, and the advertising just wasn't there. And that's why we're dependent upon you for donations. So Dan, can I ask you please to play the video about the Jewish Report and what we're doing during these times?
So you can't see over his hat.
Sorry, guys, you're going to have to give me about 30 seconds. I do have the poll ready, but sorry, Howie, you're going to have to give me about 10 seconds.
That's
Dan,
fine.
We'll give you 30.
We'll give that, Dan, that. So after the video, we'll show you a few ways in which you can make a donation. The one way you can make a donation is through Zapper. A second way is going to be through WalletDoc. A third way is directly into the Jewish Report's bank account. And a fourth way, we're going to put up a poll and allow you to vote to give a donation. And then Danny Kadar, the CEO of the Jewish Report, will send you a video tomorrow, an email tomorrow, and he will ask you to complete one of the documents for a donation. So Dan, go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm Howard Saxteen, Chairman of the South African Jewish Report. And we at the Jewish Report believe that Jewish organizations would be made or broken by how they serve their community during this impossibly difficult time. Our first decision was to continue to publish and to deliver newspapers not just to shops, but to people's townhouses and apartment blocks as well. Because feeling part of a community is one of the greatest services we could ever deliver to the Jews of South Africa. Our second decision was to create a platform for information, education and entertainment for the entire Jewish community and for South Africa as a whole. Over the past few weeks, we have created Zoom panels that have attracted tens of thousands of viewers. Some of the best healthcare specialists in South Africa gave practical advice on how to stay safe during Corona. Psychologists taught people how to stay sane, and wellness experts made sure that our minds and bodies were kept fit and healthy. One of the things we are most proud of is how we have highlighted the work done by so many Jews and Jewish organizations in feeding the needy and producing masks for both our own community as well as the townships. But now we at the Jewish Report face our own challenges to survive as advertising dries up. And so we are appealing to you. If you are one of our 55,000 readers, or if you are amongst the tens of thousands of people who have enjoyed our Zoom panels, now we at the Jewish Report are asking for your support. Please give generously to us so we can continue to publish and continue to serve you in this remarkable fashion.
And Dina, you have an announcement that you'd like to make about donations tonight. Any donation over 1,000 Rand tonight gets one of these books, but all the money is not going to go just to the Jewish Report, is it? Tell us your idea.
So as you were saying, how we're living in a time that is very difficult. It's getting very cold. We're lucky to be at home in our warm houses where we do have our own blankets and our own warmth. But for those who don't, the Jewish Report tonight, of all the proceeds that we make from donations, we will give 25% to charity in the form of blankets to give to those who really need them at this very difficult time.
Fantastic. And I think people tonight will really, really appreciate that. So Dan, some people will pay with credit cards, some with wallet docs, but one of the easiest way we found is if we put up a poll, people can vote for a donation, and then Danny Kadar, the CEO of the Jewish Report, will send an email to everyone tomorrow to remind them of their donation and to get them to vote. So can we in fact put up our poll? There we go. So we're going to take 30 seconds or so, or a minute on the screen, and just give people the opportunity to be able to vote. And while they do that, we want people to know as well that over the last few weeks, we've been running a promotion together with the Ndluli Safari Lodge, giving away randomly to people who donate more than 500 Rand. We've been giving away 2 nights for 2 people in the Ndluli Safari Lodge in the Kruger Park, this magnificent tented safari camp. And I want people to know who our winners have been. So our first winner was in fact Lindy Schulman. She gets 2 nights, 2 people in the Ndluli Safari Lodge. Our second winner was Robert Waxberger. He won our second one. And in fact, on Sunday night, our third prize winner was in fact Sharon Levine. Sharon Levine won 2 nights in the Ndluli Safari Lodge. And it's such an amazing partnership that we have with Ndluli. And a huge thank you to everyone from Ndluli for partnering with us. They're helping to support the local community. It's a joint venture with the local community in the Kruger National Park. So just a huge thank you to everyone there. We'll give you a chance to vote a little later on again in this evening's production. But shall we get on with the evening show?
Let's get baked.
Fantastic. So Dina, tell us what's up first.
All right. So as you saw earlier, for those who are logged on, Frangelicas will be giving us nice, beautiful tips on how to make our own homemade pizza in our own homes with our own toppings. So we will be welcoming on Daniel, who's from Frangelicas, and they won't be giving us their secret cheesecake recipe, guys. So if you're looking for that, I'm afraid you're on your own, but we are making a cheesecake later. So we do wait for that, and it's a little twist on it as well. But Daniel will be showing us exactly how to make a pizza, and it's probably a lot simpler than we actually think.
And just to tell everyone that all the recipes from tonight we will distribute via email tomorrow.
Indeed. So just in time, guys, just in time to get baked. All right. So Daniel, you are on mute. Let's try and unmute you. I have to tell you, Howard, I love Shavuot because first of all, I never made a cheesecake until a few years ago. And I generally only make them on Shavuot. So we even practiced one because we've been home, everyone's cooking, everyone's baking. And I think it's just such an opportune time to learn some new tricks and people are all up for it. So I know my family actually baked a chocolate cheesecake today, just as a little twist.
Ooh, amazing. Well, a huge welcome to Daniel. Great to have you on the panel tonight. Tell us what you're going to be making for us.
Thanks, Howard. Appreciate it a lot. So now we're going to be making a homemade pizza, something everyone can make at home. Very, very simple, but you can mix it up if you like. Add your own toppings, your own sauce spice if you like. Maybe add extra few bits there and things. Tonight I've got Clayton here. He's going to be helping me. He's our executive pizza chef, and he's very, very good at his job. He's going to be doing all the heavy lifting and also maybe answering any questions anybody might have. Great. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is start making our base. As with every good pizza, there's 3 things you need, and you've got to start with the base. So Clayton, will you get us going? Yeah, lovely. So Clayton is first going to start off with the flour. Then he's going to add the salt, the sugar, and I'm going to try to give you a little visual demonstration as well.
Is that a Carol Boyer's bowl you're making this in?
I think it might just be. We decided to go all out for the Jewish report. Now Clayton's starting to mix it all in, getting it nice and combined together. Next comes the oil. Look at that. Then just a bit of water. Now he's going to start kneading the dough together and mixing it all up. A bit more water.
Is this very taxing physically?
I think it is, but it depends how many pizzas you make in a day. This is quite an easy one to do, but Clayton here can make hundreds at a time, so it makes it look a little bit easier than it is.
Are there
So
not
you can get
machines that do
vitality
this?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Dina, you were saying?
I was just asking if you get vitality points for it. But you want to shove in.
There we go. So you can take your time to do it. So the way Clayton's doing it, because he's got well exercised hands in this, is very, very quickly. But at home, you can take your time to really get in there. In fact, it's quite a tactile and fun thing to do. So you might as well enjoy it.
So this is probably a great activity for the kids to do as well, to like get involved, make their own pizzas.
Absolutely. This is a great thing to do with the kids. There's all kinds of things as well with this pizza dough. You can do chocolate pizzas if you like with the kids, chocolate and banana, pizza croissants. There's a whole wide range of stuff. And it really is a great thing for the whole family to do together. And everyone can make their own pizza and bake as well. Right now we're making enough dough for 3 pizza bases. So enough for a small family to get together and all have some fun.
So do you have a pizza oven at Frangelica's?
We do. So we use a commercial pizza oven here. We use a clay tile to try and get the pizza consistency right. However, you can do this as well in a home oven. We use our oven at 250 degrees, and it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to get it out all good in time. But at home, I'd say between 10 to 15 minutes, you'll get it out just as well. So you can see it's ready. The way Clayton can tell when it's ready is when it's no longer sticking together, when he can really separate it and pull it around. It looks kind of like Play-Doh. There we go. And lovely. Okay. So now Clayton will start separating out the pizza balls to make his little bases. He starts making little round shapes. You can make them into any kind of shape you really like. It's up to you to use your creative freedom. We go for the default classic pizza shape here. So there we go. Now making them into round balls that he's going to flatten out later and roll out.
All right. Do you have to flour your surface so it doesn't get so sticky, or does it matter what it's on?
It's best to do so in your standard kitchen. We're using a granite surface here. There's a little bit of flour that's been laid down. You can't really see it on the camera. But yeah, it's always best to flour down, just to try and make, in some ways, as little mess as possible, and in other ways, as much mess as possible.
So Daniel, there's a question from Jeffrey Wolf. He wants to know, do you use bread flour for your pizza?
No, we actually make this flour from scratch. This is very different to our bread flour. We do use quite a similar flour for chia butter bread though, but this is different from your usual home bread flour.
So when I order from Woolworths or Pick and Pay or Checkers, what flour should I be ordering to make this base?
You can just use your standard cake flour. That should usually work fine.
So the cake flour, okay.
Cake flour, yeah. Now he's going to dust it down.
And Daniel, also a lot of people these days are looking at sort of banting-friendly pizzas and making bases out of cauliflower, out of pumpkin, out of all different things. Have you tried that, or do you actually offer that?
We do offer that. However, it depends also on availability of those ingredients, like corn flour, etc. It's very much on a two-order basis, so it's not our normal. We try and keep it as across the board as we can, so we can keep everyone happy. But we're always happy to help someone out if they've got something special to do. There we go. So this is probably the most physically strenuous part of it, is rolling out the flour. It takes place in a matter of seconds, but it might take a little bit longer at home while you get it there. You need a pair of forearms to really get it going.
Is that a metal rolling pin? You haven't got any sort of wrap over it or anything, like cling wrap?
Metal rolling pin, but the standard wooden rolling pin with plastic wrap over it would work great as well. Now, Clayton's going to pick up this metal dish. He's going to use that as a kind of mold to cut around the shape of the pizza. Like I said earlier, you can do any kind of shape that you like. It really just depends on what you're feeling. So you can do a star shape. You can even use cookie cutters to cut out smaller shapes and do it with the kids like that. Even made some Macaron shapes if you like.
Are we going to be throwing things in the air is what I want to know.
Unfortunately not. We're trying to keep it as neat and tidy as possible to not make the parents too upset when they do this with their kids. So
And what is your thought, thin-based or thick-based?
So I always go for a thin base personally, but I also understand there are lower but thick base. There's nothing like a kind of cakey pizza.
So there's a question from Kaya Cross. She says, do we need to let the dough rise just before rolling it out and topping it?
Sorry, I didn't catch that, how?
Do you need to let the dough to rise first before rolling it out and topping it?
Clayton, do you want to answer that? I'll take a step back so we've got the 6 foot.
You have to raise like 5 to 7 minutes.
So 7 minutes. Okay.
Okay, cool. And that's sufficient to let it rise?
Yeah.
That is sufficient, yeah. Okay, great. So now Clayton's put some holes in the pizza here. That's to let it breathe and make sure it doesn't stick.
Okay, and what was that other little rolling thing? Were you making holes in the dough?
That's 100% right, but your standard fork will work 100% fine. So now Clayton can start and bake the pizza a little bit just to get the base ready to go. And then he's going to add his sauce. So I'm going to take a step back here and let, if anyone has any questions about the pizza, and let Clayton here field them.
So Clayton, that's done it. You haven't put any toppings on at this point in time, hey?
Yeah, there's no topping.
No toppings just yet. He's still just getting the base ready before he put the sauce.
Okay, so where's the base now? The base is in the oven.
Yeah, the base is in the oven now. Just for a few minutes.
So do you always pre-book the base?
Sorry, Dean?
Do you always pre-bake the base?
Yeah.
Yes, he does, just to get it ready.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
So how long should you keep it in the oven for, and at what temperature before you put the toppings on?
Yeah, like 2-3 minutes.
At what temperature?
What heat? Temperature?
250.
250.
Like in a home oven, you'd put on 250. Okay, perfect.
220 can also work depending on what your oven goes up to. It's just a matter of time then. Great. So one of the reasons we pre-cook the base is just to get it nice and crispy and flat when it comes out. Is it ready, Clayton? Almost ready. And then we're going to add our sauces. So by this point, you should have your sauces ready and ready to be applied. What we like to do with our pizza sauces, we like to add in a few extra veggies just here and there to give it a bit more flavor, a bit more of a profile. So if you want to spice up your own pizza sauce at home, nothing wrong with chucking in a few extra veggies that you feel like, just to give it a little more of a niceness and something different to it.
So Daniel, it's a question from Debbie Myers. She wants to know, can you make dough in a mix master with a dough hook?
Sorry, what was that, Hal?
Can you in fact make the dough in a mix master with a dough hook?
Almost like a challah dough.
I believe so, but it's always best to do it with your hands.
So what's the difference between like a challah dough and this dough?
I would say the main difference is just the amount of flour, as well as the sweetness, etc. The challah dough with eggs. The challah dough is eggs as well. There's no eggs in this dough at all.
Okay.
So far we're completely vegan.
So far we're completely vegan. Really, the only time we're going to dabble into the area of vegetarianism or using any dairy in this is when we actually add the cheese at the end before we put it in the oven to bake. So right now, if you're vegan, we're still friendly to you.
Marvelous. Okay, so that's the tomato sauce going on.
So this is the Napolitana sauce. This is the sauce we've made here ready for today. This is the Frangelica sauce. The recipe we've handed out is it's a different sauce, something a little bit easier to make at home, something everybody can use. If Clinton wants to have a go, and I'm just show you how he applies it. Go, one big scoop in the middle, and then he sways it around like that. Gets it nice and circular around all the way to the edges. Lovely, and then nice and even. You can see that. What was that measurement you used? So it's an 80 ml cup or 1/3 of a cup.
Daniel, while we're busy doing this, can you tell us, is Frangelica's open at the moment?
We are open, so we will be open all the way up to Shavuot and thereafter as well, obviously not during. We're right now doing something we call a food emporium or gourmet grocery, if you like. Essentially what that means is we're stocking our shelves with restaurant grade goods, but everything is cold and ready to be bought. You just grab it from the shelf, you come to the till and you pay for it. We also are still taking orders if you would like to organize an order for collection. However, that won't be including takeaways. Takeaways, we are still doing deliveries. But for catering orders, mini cheesecakes, etc., especially for Shavuot or as Shavuot is coming after that, we're happy to help you. And another new thing we're going to be trying out in the coming weeks, not this week, because unfortunately that's not going to be a Friday this week, but next week we will be open on Friday. We'll be starting our Shabbos show, which is effectively going to be a marketplace we're going to be opening up, obviously abiding by social distancing and making sure everyone is as safe as possible and sanitary. But essentially it will be an open market for people to come and purchase things like the kugels, vegetarian pierogan, all kinds of different soups, as well as falafels, fish balls, samosas, anything really you can think of.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
So now we can have a look ahead.
Okay, and let's, if we can try get that metal bowl out of the way so we can see. Yeah, please.
No worries.
All right.
Okay, now Clayton's going to be adding these toppings in. First,
All right, and
it's gonna start-
someone's asking if there's anything else you can use besides tomatoes as a base.
100%. Anything that's structured fancy, you can even use a butternut base if you like. Really, the great thing about tomato is how it combines with different toppings in the cheese and how it cooks in the oven. That's why it's such a great pizza topping, as well as the classic goat soup. But I'm always a fan of not really necessarily using a tomato sauce as much as a Napolitan sauce, as that's when you really get the intended product at the end. Speaking of which, we also do sell pizza Napolitana sauce if anyone feels like making their own, as well as an at-home kit if you want some pasta, pizza bases, sauces, etc., as well as instructions how to make it at home.
Okay, Daniel, if we can ask you to talk a little louder. Sorry, we're getting a lot of messages that people are having difficulty hearing you.
Sure thing, no problem. I'll try to talk a bit louder.
Okay, so the one question was from Lynn. Can you suggest something to use instead of a tomato base?
Like I say, a butternut base can also work great, but the internet is a great resource. You can really find 100 different recipes out there. I myself am not much of a baker. That's why I've asked Clayton here to help me. So the internet is a great source for me as well. You can find tons of vegan and vegetarian things, etc. Really, the most important thing to get right with your pizza is your base. As long as you get your base right, you can really experiment with your toppings, especially your sauce.
Dina, tell me, what is your view on pineapple on pizza?
So, I have to tell you that in the beginning, when I heard pineapple, because obviously I didn't grow up with pineapple on pizza. Everyone always has their thing. And now I actually did try it not too long ago, and it actually is quite nice. It's actually got its own little texture. I think it's an acquired taste. But friends of mine actually had said to me, oh, no, you have to have pineapple. Everyone's ordering whatever they like on their pizza. And it's actually very nice. I actually quite like it. Have you tried pineapple on pizza?
I have. I tell you, an acquired taste is 21-year-old whiskey. maybe truffle is an acquired taste. Pineapple on pizza for me is sacrilege.
No. I actually
Yeah.
like it when it gets actually like a bit sweet from the baking. It's delicious. And how are you on olives? Let's go toppings now. Olives?
Yeah, I can do olives. My favorite, to be quite honest, artichokes, pepper juice, avo. But you have to put the avo on afterwards. You can't heat the avo. The avo has to be cold, otherwise it goes bitter.
That's very true. It's amazing how everyone literally has their little idiosyncrasies when it comes to choosing their toppings.
Awesome,
Cool,
guys.
Daniel, is that our pizza?
So this is essentially our pizza. We've got it ready to go here. All our toppings have been put on. So you can see the final touch that Clayton does is he puts on the mozzarella cheese. Mozzarella is by far the preferred cheese for a pizza just because of how well it melts and sits well with that tomato sauce. So let's put it into the oven. This is going in at that 250 degrees that we spoke about earlier. And it's going to take about 5 minutes to make. And when it comes out, it's going to look beautiful. We can also, if you wanted to, before we did that, we could have turned it into a kind of pizza croissant or calzone if you like. All you have to do there is just fold it over, add some olive oil on top, and put it in the oven for the same amount of time, making sure it doesn't
That's an interesting twist. I like that.
So Glenn Wallman says artichoke, mushroom, and black olives. Those are the perfect combinations for a pizza. I think she may be right. But one question that came in from our team is, do you put on the toppings on the base and then the cheese on top? Or is the cheese at the bottom and toppings on top?
So we like to put our cheese on top of the topping so that the cheese melts over your toppings as well as cooks them. Just not too much, so keep them fresh, but cooks over the cheese. But you can also put it with the cheese first. Obviously, then your topping is going to be slightly less cooked through the oven as well as they're going to sit on top of the cheese. So they might fall off as well.
Glenn Wallman is very upset that I've given away her deepest, darkest secrets, which were artichoke, mushroom, and black olives. But you can't help it because Glenn Wallman is doing the most remarkable, amazing work for our community. So Glenn is running, I think it's up to 60 cans in the Johannesburg area, getting tons and tons of food every week taken through to the underprivileged people. If there's anyone who would make our community proud to be a member of our community, you just have to look at Glenn Wallman and the remarkable work that she and the Angel Network are doing. Every time I see that woman, I just want to hug her at a distance. She is truly remarkable.
Couldn't agree more. Unbelievable work, really.
Fantastic. So what do we still have to do with our pizza?
So right now it's in the oven. It's nearly ready to go. We're just going to cook it up. So I felt like if anyone has any more questions to field, now would be the time just before we finish up.
A question from the Topple family. Do you have to brush the top of a calzone with egg?
So that's up to you. We like to use olive oil rather. It essentially does the same purpose.
And Bettina Bard, from all the way from Cape Town, wants to know, is there any way Frangelicas can open up in Cape Town? I think she's probably heard stories about your cheesecake, let alone your pizza.
100%. I mean, our cheesecake is famous across South Africa, maybe even the world. But we are looking to go into Cape Town, especially at the Sea Point Spa. We do some work with them now and then. So you can always check in there and find some of our goods on the shelves there a few times a year, especially for this kind of time.
I think Marion, in fact, has the best question of all. The next morning, there's always leftover pizza. How do you heat it up? Do you have it cold? Do you heat it up? Do you put it in an oven? Do you microwave it? What do you do with the leftover pizza?
Well, that I think very much depends on what mood you're in. I think that if you're in very, very much of a hurry, pizza is one of those things that's very, very hard not to enjoy, no matter what the temperature of it is. So cold can go, but otherwise, I think my go-to is probably an oven just to try and get that even and nice cook. But microwave as well, if you're in a hurry, also works. So it's really up to your mood at the time.
So, Daniel, just before we leave you, just let us check in again. If we still want to get a Shavuot order in, can we call Frangelica's first thing tomorrow morning?
100%. So please do make sure you get your order in as early as possible tomorrow. From 12 o'clock onwards, we will be closing our orders as we are trying to just keep up with demand, etc. And we do have a small team working, obviously because of the lockdown, etc. And we're trying to make sure everyone gets the best thing possible. So please make sure your orders get in by 12 o'clock tomorrow.
And after Shavuot and Yontif, which is like a 20-day Yontif this year, after that, you're open for takeouts, you're open for collections, and you're open for a gourmet convenience store, a shuk, and we can pop into your store and get some gourmet food.
100%, Howard. As well as I would say, if you're up for your morning walk between hours of 6 and 9 with the dogs or alone,
Until next week.
You're welcome to come past for a freezer. We do stock frozen freezers as well as cold drinks if anyone wants to come get a refreshment while they're walking past, as well as takeaway coffee.
All right. And you're also available in Birdhaven now, which is very exciting.
We're moving across, yeah.
Fantastic. I didn't know that. Just explain that to me.
We're starting to stock our goods in different spas, moving them across, as well as in Voodoo Lily in Birdhaven. That's right.
So opposite Planet Fitness in Wanderers.
Fantastic. And just Josh, last question before we look at your pizza. If we do want to pop into your store and come grab a takeout or come to your gourmet facility, just tell us exactly where you are.
So we're at number 2 Long Avenue in Glen Hazel. I'm sure many of your viewers are familiar with Push 'n World. We're directly across the road. You'll notice us with the big pink wall we've got inside, as well as the happy faces from all the staff members working around as well.
Josh says doesn't know what a leftover pizza is. Never heard of that before. And Renee Hurwitz wants to know, what do you deliver to the Sea Point Spa? It just was a little difficult to hear.
So we do deliver apple filos, etc. It is seasonal. We try and get our goods there as often as possible because we do want to make sure that our Cape Townian friends don't miss out on the Frangelica's goodness.
That's absolutely amazing. Let's see that pizza.
Brilliant.
So here's our finished product. As you can see, Clayton is a master at creating something that's really succulent and mouth-watering. So that's what your pizza is going to look like just at the end. You can see the nice crispy base there, how it's just crispy and thin, as well as how nicely the cheese is melted evenly across with all the toppings mixed together.
Oh, looks delish.
Fantastic. Dina, will you be dropping one of those off at me tomorrow after you've made?
Sure, I'm going to put on extra pineapple just for you, Howard.
Thank you so much. And a huge thank you to the guys from Frangelica's. That looks absolutely stunning and delicious.
Absolutely. And I will concur. All their staff are always smiling, always happy. They're just a pleasure to deal with. So thank you so much. It was really, and also always delicious.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you. Okay, great. Now, Howard, I believe that you've also got some extra tips for us tonight. I believe that you have been given professional medical advice on what we need to do with our masks.
So, Dina, the reality is that I've seen so many people wearing masks, and some of them have been wearing visors, and some of them have been wearing masks, and some of them have been wearing paper masks for 3 days, that we went to Dr. Daniel Israel. And I said to him, Daniel, do us a favor. We just need some advice. Give us 5 1-minute clips that we can show during the course of this evening, just advice for masks. So the first thing we're going to do now is, in fact, listen to Daniel's, the first tip that he gives us for wearing masks, and we'll, in fact, be doing it throughout the evening. We'll be listening to some of Daniel's advice that he gives us. So here is advice bit number 1.
Should I wear a mask? At the beginning we said no, now we're saying yes. We know that coronavirus main spread path is by respiratory droplets. By wearing a mask, you're stopping yourself from spreading your respiratory droplets. The problem in society is that we don't know who has coronavirus. So by everybody wearing a mask, we're stopping the spread of respiratory droplets. Masks are great. You can use them, as our president did, to play hide and seek. I've seen a great use of them as a kippah in the mornings when you can't find one. But a simple use of a mask every day will stop you from spreading droplets and will make you feel safe if other people are wearing a mask, that you will not be exposed to their droplets.
Dina, apparently I should have turned up my volume. So can we just play that again? Sorry, because I've got a few messages from people that said they just couldn't hear.
Or should we just summarize it and we'll go on to the next one later?
It will be quicker for Daniel just to play that again.
Should I wear a mask? At the beginning, we said no, now we're saying yes. We know that coronavirus main spread path is by respiratory droplets. By wearing a mask, you're stopping yourself from spreading your respiratory droplets. The problem in society is that we don't know who has coronavirus. So by everybody wearing a mask, we're stopping the spread of respiratory droplets. Masks are great. You can use them, as our president did, to play hide and seek. I've seen a great use of them as a kippah in the mornings when you can't find one. But a simple use of a mask every day will stop you from spreading droplets and will make you feel safe if other people are wearing a mask, that you will not be exposed to their droplets.
And there we go. I actually didn't know after after hide and go seek that you could also use it as a kippah. See, you're so useful, these masks.
Very useful. There's a lot of good advice still to come today. So who's up next?
All right. So for our next thing, we are going from pizza to pasta. We are going with Lauren Bulkin, who is outstanding. She's a regular contributor to the South African Jewish Report, to our wonderful recipes, and she has a delectable surprise in store for us. She's just upside down on her side. Lauren, are you able to move your camera? There we go. See, she's playing the hokey pokey and turning herself around. All right, now you're just on mute, so we're almost there. We just have to get off mute. There we go. Fantastic. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us.
It's such a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
So, Lauren, I have been at some of your birthday parties that you have created. I have never seen things being created like this, actually.
I can tell you that Lauren is the only person I can tell you who makes better kosher duck than I do. But Lauren, I want to ask you, actually, Shavuot's coming up, and one of the key elements of Shavuot is in fact Bikur Cholim, where we take fruit and vegetables through to shul, which gets distributed to the less fortunate. Obviously, we can't do that this Shavuot, but you've actually got an amazing initiative at Great Park Shul that you're involved with to substitute Bikur Cholim. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I actually, in my coronavirus insomnia, woke up in the middle of the night and just felt really sad that the kids weren't bringing Bikurim to shul this year. So I thought maybe it would be a good idea if we just raised a few oranges with the vitamin C, and also because they're not so expensive, I thought people wouldn't feel uncomfortable to donate an orange, or not thinking that so much money would actually come in. At the moment, we're sitting over 20,000 rand, so there are a whole lot of oranges that are going out to Africa Tikkun tomorrow. But there is still time to raise some more, and if anybody would like to donate, I can put the bank account number onto your website.
So Lauren, tell us, how much money have you raised?
When last I checked, we were over 22,000 rand.
That is absolutely amazing, incredible, well done.
Amazing. We have the most incredible, unbelievable community. Really, we do. I just thought people would give a random 10 rand, but they have just been so generous and so unbelievable.
And so Africa Tikkun will be delivering 23,000 rands worth of fruit and vegetables to those less privileged than ourselves because of what you've done. What an amazing achievement.
What astounded me, though, is when I spoke to Mark this morning, I phoned him thinking that maybe he would like the oranges in 2 deliveries because to me they seemed like so many oranges. But in actual fact, he's feeding so many people that these oranges aren't even in a touch base. I don't even think they're going to be enough for 1 orange per person. And that's the amount of people he's feeding. And I think that's when it hit home, the amount of really hungry people. And I don't know, it's astounding for me.
Well, Africa Tikkun themselves have delivered month-long food packs to the more than 40,000 people over the last 2 months, which is an absolutely...
This is what he told me, and it's such a huge amount of people. And when you actually start counting oranges and thinking about the amount of people, your heart just sinks, it's heartbreaking.
So Lauren, as soon as you finish this demonstration for us, if you can just post onto the chat where people can make a donation for oranges as well to help you, that would be fantastic.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
Thank you
anyone
so
who's
very
not
much.
making bikurim, anyone who generally would, I think that this is just such a wonderful cause that absolutely, please do post those details.
Yeah, you
And
know,
a
a kilo of oranges is literally 10 Rand. So I think we've all been so pushed and so asked for money, and 10 Rand just seems comfortable, you know, to give at this point.
Cool.
All right. So, I have to move
thank-
us on, unfortunately.
So are we getting on to the ariketi broccoli?
So yes, so from that, because people will give and our community is so unbelievable at giving, and we do again have this contradiction where we're talking about food and we're giving. So as long as we're giving and we're cooking, we're good. So yes, we believe you have got a wonderful recipe in store for us.
Yeah, well, there are actually two versions of this pasta. So there is the version with the cream that is luscious and delicious, and then there is the version that I tried the other night with stock, which is nice, but didn't go down half as well with my family. So what I'll do is I will give you the creamy, delicious, luscious version, and the other one I can post for you.
Marvelous. We definitely going creamy. We're real all in, Lauren. We are all in for this hug.
You know what? You'll thank me. It's a once off. You'll eat it. You'll do your walk the next morning, but it's, you know, it's delicious the way it is. So in my frying pan, I have chopped up an onion, a clove of garlic, and a chili. I sauteed it in some olive oil, which I obviously had to do beforehand. And for me, the type of olive oil is really important. I found the Woolworths Delicate, which doesn't seem to contaminate my food. It's subtle and you don't get that overwhelming bitter olive oil taste. So that's what I've been using at the moment, and it's really the most amazing olive oil. I cooked my onion and garlic and my chili until it was soft in the frying pan. I cooked my onions for a really long time because I think that if you cook onions too quick and they brown too quickly, it gives your food a bitter taste. So rather cook them slowly, gently over 10-15 minutes until they become transparent and soft to the taste. So that's done. And to this, I have added 4 anchovies. Don't be put off by the anchovies. Your pasta will not taste fishy. It'll just give it kind of a salty lift, but it will still be delicious and you won't taste the fish. So that's all done. It's cooked up, and I'm going to now add my cream to the mixture. Give it a little stir. Maybe turn on my stove, which could be helpful. And I'm just going to heat this up a little. I might need some more cream. Okay, so can you all see in the frying pan?
Yeah, is that normal cream, just full cream?
It's normal whipping cream. Yeah. I'm just going to add another half, just to, if I can open it. Help someone?
You can do it, Mom.
There's a support crew, as long as you've got support.
So I wanted to tell you, support crew is in fact Jamie Bulkin, who during the Bachelor and Bachelorette actually donated photo shoots to both our Bachelor and Bachelorette. So a huge thank you to Jamie Bulkin. He donated photo shoots in fact, Lauren and Lauren's rose garden. So Lauren and Errol have the most magnificent rose garden, and Jamie's going to do a photo shoot for the Bachelor and Bachelorette in it. So a huge thank you to Jamie.
Absolutely, and they were very excited about it, by the way.
So Lauren, you have about 1,000 people busy watching you at the moment.
So do not suppose I had to have some of my wine. Hold on.
Please have a drink, because soon you'll be able to buy some more. So just drink up.
Yes. Hold on a sec. I'm putting some black pepper. And I'm going to add about a big teaspoon of salt. Okay, now the tasting thing is really, really important. You have to taste your food for seasoning. So, a little taste. And it's seriously yum. And I'm going to now add my broccoli or my broccoli stalks. but not sure about the kosher thing with the stalks and the heads. So I will add my chopped up broccoli stalks, which I have steamed in my steamer until they're quite soft.
So one question that's come in, can we substitute coconut cream instead of milk?
Howard, I don't think so. I haven't actually tried it. Like I said, I did use stock the other night. And it was nice, but having tasted this, just not quite the same, but the stock is good. I don't know if I do coconut cream. My mom has done buttermilk, which is quite nice. I didn't love it, but it's not bad.
So Joash, I think you have to try it and you need to let us know whether it in fact works really well with coconut milk or not. Another question that has come in is someone has asked to see which olive oils that you're in fact using. Now, all extra virgin olive oil is kosher. Is that correct?
Yes, all extra virgin olive oil is kosher. This one actually has a texture on it.
That's the one from the work there.
Yes,
but
and it's the delicate. So they've got a delicate, they've got a medium, and I think they had a robust. But this delicate is really, it's perfect. It's perfect for my salads. It's been perfect for my cooking. And yeah. So we've cooked up our butternut, the cream sauce, and our butternut. Give me more wine.
I was wondering if I thought still had some more wine.
Dina, am I the only sober one on this this video?
No, I'm with you, Howard. I mean, I did think about it twice. I thought maybe I missed something.
So, Lauren, what are you putting in there?
All right, so now I'm adding my ariketi pasta. Let me just grab one.
What is ariketi pasta? Tell us about it.
Right, so this is an ariketi pasta. And what's nice for this is it's like a little cup. So it keeps the sauce inside of the cup. So when you're eating it, the pasta gets all enveloped in the sauce and it's amazing. But if you can't find it, because sometimes it's hard to find, just use whatever makes you happy.
Is that like the soup sort of stuff I'd get?
Guys, you got to taste test. It's part of the...
No, it's not tasting. This tasting thing is very important because you actually don't know what you're making if you don't taste it.
Where did you get your ariketi? Is that something from Super Sconto or could you get it at Woolworths or Pick and Pay?
Woolworths has an ariketi pasta. Otherwise, I'm using a Davela one, which you can find sometimes at the spa.
Fantastic.
But Woolworths definitely does do an ariketi.
And Karan Vanocka says, Lauren, you're a star.
Oh, thank you.
The real star.
Love you lots.
So Barbara Gelman wants to know more about the olive oil. You couldn't hear. So it's the Woolworths and it's the delicate. And what is the Woolworths brand called? Woolworths delicate.
It actually is made by, it says here somewhere. Hold on one sec. I'm going to look for you.
Okay, no, don't worry. We'll find it.
It's
made by Costas. It's actually made by Costas.
Yeah, if you go into Woolworths, it's actually a whole new range of olive oils and you'll see them all together on a rack.
And they're phenomenal. They are the most delicious olive oils.
Martini's telling us that Fresh Fellas has a large range of different pastas as well.
They do. I don't think they keep the ariketi, but any pasta is actually going to work. This one's just nice because it's a kind of sauce that will fill up the little cups of the ariketi. And it just works well for this particular sauce, but it's not going to make a huge difference. I'm just adding a tiny bit more.
So, Lauren, there's a question from Bettina Bart says, you're only using the stalks of the broccoli. That's for kashrut reasons, because some people believe you can't actually clean the top of the stalks, and some people think you can. So you've just gone safe and used the stalks.
I've gone safe because I'm not putting myself up for any further trauma. And this was quite enough for me. But there's, you know what, I'm actually not sure. I know that you're allowed to use the frozen broccoli that comes from Israel. But otherwise, in South Africa, you can only use stalks. When I speak to my cousins in America, they laugh at me because they were allowed to use the whole broccoli.
So Yvonne Yvonne Jarvis also has a question, and this is an important question. How long have you cooked that pasta for? Because whenever I've looked at the instructions on a pasta packet and I taste the pasta afterwards, it is not al dente, it's actually raw. So
you know what, that's the whole tasting thing again. You actually have to taste. So this pasta says here, cooked for, where's it say? It says cooked for 13 minutes. So what I would do is I would put it into boiling salted water, give it about 8 or 9 minutes, and then take one and taste and see if it's to your liking. The truth of the matter is you're actually going to cook your pasta some more inside the sauce. So don't cook it until it's really soft enough. You keep it a little bit al dente.
Perfect.
Fantastic. So is that dish ready?
So this is basically ready. I don't know why my stove is off again. I'm going to just show you how to serve it.
All right. And then once the pasta is actually already boiled, do you run it under cold water to take out any starch or to stop it cooking? Nothing like that?
You know what, Dean? I don't. I know that you're supposed to, but I don't. I just drain it and put it straight into my sauce. And I don't mind if a little bit of the water from the pasta comes into the sauce because it just makes the sauce a little bit more liquid. And I think it coats the pasta better.
So Dina, I can tell you that I do, when I finish my pasta, I drain it, pour some cold water over it to get the starch off, and then add olive oil on top of it to re-coat it with something a little fatty, and then do the sauce on top.
Okay, I also drain it, put the water on it, and then, but I actually add a bit of oil to my water.
Yeah, you know what? Technically, I think they tell you to add a little bit of oil to your water. I just add really salt, and I'm just cooking some well-salted water.
Well, it looks delicious.
So we're going to take the pasta off the stove, and without dropping it, because of this wine abundance here, I'm going to pour it into my dish.
Oh, wow, the whole dinner is ready.
Shame your family looks starved. Poor Ella and Errol haven't had anything to eat since lunchtime.
No, they haven't had anything to eat at least an hour ago. And I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of lemon rind and maybe a few pine nuts.
How do you do your lemon rind?
So I've actually got a Rosh Hashanah machine. That I use for
Rosh Hashanah machine. Is that a new one?
A Rosh Hashanah machine. I could actually get you the Rosh Hashanah machine. So I actually use it to peel my apples on Rosh Hashanah. It's become a traditional thing that my dad gave me the machine many years ago. And we put the apple on and we turn it and off comes this rind. And that's how I get it so pretty and long. But you can just use a carrot peeler. It will work just as well.
And you put on pine nuts. Do you toast your pine nuts?
Yes, I toasted the pine nuts. Let me just add a few lettuce leaves, but not going to look pretty, you know. Right.
Wow.
It is basil. And we're good to go.
Fantastic. I'm sure your family are so excited.
They are plastic and they're standing here ready and waiting to eat it.
If Gideon is watching from Washington, he should be on the next plane back to come get that.
Howard, I wish. I'm just hoping he'll get a repatriation flight back.
Miranda Block
waiting for the last possible moments.
Miranda Block asks one last question, and then we have to move on. No parmesan, she says.
Definitely parmesan. You can add parmesan. You can add truffle oil. Whatever you add to this is actually just going to give it depth. So the pine nuts are going to give it a bit of a crunch. The lemon rind is going to give it an extra zing, and the parmesan definitely.
And Cheryl Solsky asked, does it matter if the broccoli is fresh or frozen?
No, not at all. Just as long as when you add it, it's really steamed soft.
Okay, we do have a request from Ashley to see the Rosh Hashanah machine, but maybe you can send a picture tomorrow. And
no, that's the Rosh Hashanah machine. Hold on,
I think we've got to quickly see this Rosh Hashanah machine, and then we will hurry up.
Yeah, we're doing a Rosh Hashanah machine. It's a very old box, so it's all taped together. And you
a Rosh Hashanah machine. Why did you say it's a Rosh Hashanah machine?
It looks like a torture
machine. But you add your fruit, you turn the handle, and off comes the rabbit.
I love it. We love the Rosh Hashanah machine.
Tomorrow on Yappy Chef, we'll all be ordering the Rosh Hashanah machines.
I think they're still available somewhere, somehow.
Lauren, that looks absolutely amazing. A huge thank you. That looks delicious.
Absolutely. I'm sure your family can't wait to tuck in. So thank you so much for joining. It looks amazing. Thank you for your tips. And
thank you guys for all you do. It's really been unbelievable. It's got us through lockdown. Thank you so much.
And also you'll send the details for the oranges.
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you so much. Post it on the chat, and we did see Steele hiding behind the corner trying not to be on the video, but we did catch him there for
He's laughing.
Cool. Lauren, thank you so much. That's absolutely looks delicious and amazing. Dina,
Thanks,
we're running so late and behind schedule. Let's move on. Do we want to hear more from Dr. Daniel Israel?
Definitely. I feel he's got so many tips to share. I think let's roll his next tip.
Okay, fantastic. Let me share my screen and give his next tip.
All right. And in the meantime, Dan can bring up Jody Kruger, who will be our next panelist.
What's the deal with masks versus visors? Masks protect the world from us. Visors protect us from the world to some degree. If everybody wears a mask, collectively we're stopping ourselves from spreading our droplets on the world. But a mask must fit well above and below the chin. A visor protects us from other people's droplets to some degree. But if someone's 2 meters away and they're wearing a mask, you don't need a visor. Visors are more for medical people doing interventional procedures to stop respiratory droplets that would otherwise go into the eyes. They're much more comfortable, but they don't fill the role that a mask would.
And there we have it. I didn't know. I see people wearing visors. I didn't know what the story was. Should I be wearing a visor? I don't know. People are wearing, I saw Coke bottles on their heads. Who knows? We live in such crazy times.
Fantastic. So we're welcoming Jody Kruger, our next panelist, onto the stage. Jody, lovely to see you.
From Angel Foods, absolutely. Jody, you are still on mute, but you are going to be making for us a teriyaki salmon tonight.
I am.
We're very excited. With Angel, what did you say? With slaw on the side. Asian
slaw, yes.
Fantastic. All right, so take us through it. Tell us.
Okay, so I pre-recorded it because I'm not in my kitchen right now. So Dan has the recording.
All right, so he will start sharing.
Everyone, this evening we're making the super simple but super delicious teriyaki salmon. Your first step is to line your baking tray. I prefer baking paper, but you can use foil, which you would spray with a cooking spray. I prefer the paper for a number of reasons. Firstly, it'll curtail your juices from going everywhere. Secondly, it makes it much easier to move your fish afterwards when you want to put it on the platter, and depending on the look you're going for, can add to quite a rustic feel. Our next step is to spice our fish. The sauce we're going to put on is quite sweet, so I tend to be quite generous in spicing it. For the sauce, we have 3 ingredients. It's 3/4 cup of thick soya sauce, 1/4 cup of balsamic glaze, and 1/4 cup of muscovado with treacle sugar. Mix very well to make sure that your sugar is enmeshed in the liquid. Spoon it over your fish. And cover the top surface. allergies permitting, cover in sesame seeds. Bake your fish in a preheated oven at 180 degrees for 10 minutes, and the last 3 minutes put it under the grill. With such a rich meal, I suggest quite a sharp and simple side. So what I'm going to make for you now is an Asian slaw, a packet of chopped cabbage. Add to that 2 chopped up chilies. Make sure when you do chop your chilies that you get rid of all the seeds and you wash your hands very carefully afterwards, especially before touching your mouth and eyes. Then the ingredients for the dressing are as follows: a tablespoon of soy sauce, a tablespoon of sesame oil, tablespoon of olive oil, tablespoon of rice vinegar, some honey, teaspoon of salt, and teaspoon of garlic and ginger mixed. Mix that together. Pour over your cabbage, chilies, and mix through.
There's another one.
Okay, so while he's getting it ready, but you make it also look so easy. I've never actually made a salmon. Here's your next one.
Delicious teriyaki salmon.
It's the same one.
Oh, it's so fun. Sorry,
So
Jan.
Jody,
Here's the
while
next
we
one.
get, okay, just quickly, while we get this one ready, everyone is asking, what spice did you use on the salmon beforehand? You said you spiced it, but you never
I
told
used
us.
the Ina Parman fish rub, but fish spice, but you can use the Nomu fish rub or the Woolworths fish rub also.
Okay, cool, fantastic.
Out of the oven, nice and caramelized. Transfer it to your serving dish and then cover with rocket or any herbs you prefer, and serve it either warm or at room temperature.
Wow, looks so simple, hey?
It is.
Delicious. I know. So I know everyone these days has to worry about allergies, about things that they never really had to worry about before. But I'm sure the sesame adds like a very much a richness to it.
It does. And it does lift it as well as giving it a bit of a crunch as well.
Right.
And also adds to the Asian flavor.
All right. And there's a question on the cooking time. How long were you cooking it for?
10 minutes, but just keep an eye on it. So put it in for 10 minutes and the last 2 minutes on grill, under the grill, so that caramelizes.
Jody, I never know. When I order salmon, there's the question, do you want Canadian salmon, Scottish salmon, Norwegian salmon? What's the right answer?
So there isn't a right answer. Probably the right answer from a health perspective is Alaskan free salmon, but we don't have access to that. Norwegian salmon seems to be the richest and also readily available. So that's pretty much Norwegian salmon. I prefer Norwegian salmon to Canadian.
The price of salmon, though, is crazy. How much did you pay for that piece of salmon that we saw?
I actually don't recall.
Hide your head in shame.
Well, that's why someone's actually asking where you buy your salmon, because I think that's also quite a little trick.
Yeah, so I get mine from B&B directly, from the wholesalers, because when I do catering, I get a whole lot.
All right, and salmon is actually always the first thing to go. I've always noticed that.
Always. And it isn't a Jewish function without salmon.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And could you do that similar with other fish, or would you use just normally the salmon?
I would normally use the salmon. You could. The problem is that the white fishes are very firm and they're not as oily. So you won't get the same kind of taste, but you certainly can do it.
All right. And so this is a total sidebar. You had mentioned maybe even doing a fish curry, because I was going to make one the other night. So I want to ask you, if you're doing a fish curry, and this is the teriyaki salmon, do you have to coat that fish before you put it into a curry, or can you just cut it and put it in, even like a white fish? Can you just put it into a curry?
You can just put it in, but cook it first. So what I do is I cut my fish up, I put it in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I add it to the curry sauce.
Okay, because I literally had that question the other day, and I thought, sure, you were talking about it, and I should have actually asked the question.
Well, now you got the answer.
All right, and someone is saying, it's Lung's Wi-Fi is saying fresh salmon is cheaper than smoked salmon. Chilean is also very nice. Food lover salmon is excellent.
Yes, their salmon is very good. The only problem is that it tends to be frozen. So if you want it fresh, for example, for sushi, then it's best not to use it, but otherwise it's excellent.
All right.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And it looks absolutely delicious. Are you keeping that for Shavuot, or is that for dinner tomorrow night?
No, I think it'll be for Shavuot.
I think it will stay, exactly. The fish that size especially, I think, but it looks absolutely delicious. It looks simple.
Not that I can have any guests, but anyway, it'll last us a while.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Jody. I mean, I think that was so simple. It was so easy. I think it's something that anyone can really do at home. Adding the Asian slaw, I think, adds that little other extra element of that zing. And I just want to ask you about the chilies as well quickly. The chilies, you mentioned, obviously, you take the seeds out. And I never know which chilies to choose. How do you know which between the red, between the green, which are the hot chilies?
So the green ones are... No, but I stand to be corrected. As far as I know, the green ones are hotter than the red ones. So it depends what you get. Green chilies and red chilies are the same. It's just their ripeness is different. So I happen to have green chilies in my garden, and that's what I used. But if we had done this in a few weeks, they might have been red chilies.
Okay. So, I've got that on the chili. Someone's actually asked for a recipe. But we'll put it all in the email, which will go out tomorrow. And
can I say, I find the green and the red chilies too spicy for me. So I do have the jalapeno chilies in my fridge, and I use them because they're not as spicy as the fresh chilies, and I chop that up and stick in.
Excellent. That's a good tip.
It's all his Indian experience with the chilies.
Exactly. Nothing like Mexican chilies in an Indian dish.
For sure.
Exactly.
Cool, Jody. That looked absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us this evening. And it looks like a nice, great, healthy option.
It is. It is very healthy.
And it's something that's quick and easy. Yeah. I love it. I'm totally going to make it. Totally.
Excellent.
Cool.
Right,
so,
thank you.
Dina, one of the big supporters of these webcasts has been Mantis Security, who have helped us so much and assisted us with all sorts of prizes as well as sponsorships for these webinars. So, Dan, can I ask you to please play the Mantis Security video? You know, Mantis have been absolutely amazing, and people understand that at this time, security is completely changing as well. Things like fingerprint readers are now a thing of the past. Your security guard needs to sanitize you when you come into your home or wherever you're going. And Mantis have been great supporters of ours, and we certainly hope that our community will be great supporters of them as well. So just a huge thank you to Mantis for the sponsorship of these webinars, as well as for all the prizes that you've given us for so many people who've won. I think we've had like 5 sets of prizes per webinar over the last few days, so it's been absolutely amazing. A huge thank you to everyone and the Kramers at Mantis. Really an enormously impressive bunch of people. So thank you. Now, Dina.
Yes.
I'm not a cake person. Am I allowed to admit it?
Oh, I don't know if you can try admit it. I don't know if it's true, but you can try.
So I want you to know that Danny Kadar has just told me that tonight Mantis will in fact be giving away another 4 prizes of a guard for 48 hours for when lockdown is over and we're able to go away. And we all know everyone wants to rush off to the bush. And Mantis will be providing the people who give the 4 biggest donations to the Jewish Report tonight 4 prizes of a 48-hour guard each for when you go away. So that's absolutely amazing. We're going to put up a poll a little later just to give people the opportunity to vote for donations if they haven't yet voted again. But I was saying that I'm not a cake person. And then I go onto Instagram and I see the Cook Sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never in my entire life seen anything like this. So can, in fact, we bring Kim Tobias onto the stage, because Kim Tobias is the Cook Sister. And I would like to just maybe share my screen with you for a second, and we can actually look at some of Kim Tobias's creations, because we were talking a little earlier, and Kim's son turned 21, and this was the cake. And that's not a bottle of Coke you're seeing there. That's an actual cake. The brandy, we can say, is actually a proper bottle of brandy. But just look at that. I mean, the sort of creations that Kim is making is just absolutely astounding.
Absolutely. And she only does this for fun. Hey, this is like so exciting for her. She just loves her craft. She's got such a passion for it. And we'll just talk about it while you're there. She
the
really
Cook Sister claims to be making bras also, but just look at this. Aren't these absolutely remarkable? Kim, welcome.
Thank you, Howard. I'm so flattered. I'm ready to start hyperventilating.
No, I tell you, there are 2 people I want to move in with during lockdown. You are one of them, and Karen Schneider is the other.
Oh, that's good competition.
Those when you follow these 2 people on Instagram, you just drool.
Oh, Howard, I think I have to definitely confront this issue of your cake phobia. A good dose of decadent chocolate cake or something.
Oh, that terrifies me already. I can feel my arteries clogging.
Yeah, that banting's not going to be a good sign.
As we say at Shavuot, we're embracing our cakeness. So we here to, and also like, I just tell us, how do you get your inspiration? Because every time I do look on Instagram, there's something I think like, how do you even think about that?
You know, Dina, when I tell you that these things just pop into my head at night when I'm sleeping and thinking to myself, how am I going to get around the brief that people give me? Because they give me all sorts of briefs. Sometimes the brief that they give me is something I've never done before. I always like to do something novel. I never try and copy the same cake twice. And people have different hobbies, different ages, different occasions. But the nice thing about doing this, and the only thing that is just keeps me going and my passion, is that it's always for a simcha. And that is just what this is all about. And it brings it warms my heart. And when people send me feedback afterwards that was just like a spectacular showstopper, that's the reward in it.
That's amazing. Because it does bring joy.
I want to know, Kim, your husband is a super athlete. He's like an Iron Man. He's almost unbeatable in anything that he does, whether he's swimming or running or cycling. Does he actually eat your cakes?
No. He's my shocking taste tester. He doesn't eat them. He doesn't look at them. He actually is, I know he's a freak of nature.
I think that's a lot of will. Hey? That is serious, strong.
And he is a determined athlete. He is a Benjamin Button. He's actually having his bar mitzvah next week because he goes backwards by eating so well and being so healthy.
Well, that's why we've got yin and yang. It creates balance in life. Exactly. So tell us what you are doing for us tonight. Are you giving us some little tricks of the trade?
I am going to give you a few tricks, but baking is a process. It's nothing that gets done overnight. It's not a 10-minute whip up. It's a process of baking and doing the icing and doing the ganache. You were discussing the ganache, and all of it takes time, whether you have salted caramel, macarons, any of those sort of things, it all takes time. So I've put a very short video to get to the specific point. And then after the video, I will show you nice little tricks to do once you've got to the point at the end of the video.
Fantastic. So Dan will roll the video for us.
Okay.
We'll just tee it up.
Hi everyone, my name is Kim Tobias. I am the cook sister and I welcome you into my kitchen. Today I'm going to do something very simple for you, something you can do at home, show you a few tricks, and maybe you can see how you're going to get this done in your own kitchen. So as you can see, I've got the 6 colors of the rainbow in icing. You take a regular white icing and you put colorant in all the different colors and you make Ziploc bags. They're plain, basic, simple Ziploc bags that I've cut a corner of the bottom here, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make a rainbow. We're going to roll it up into the Glad wrap and put it straight in your icing bag. No fuss, no mess.
It can't stop now. I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
You know why it's stopping?
Tell me.
Because, Kim, you told us there's 6 colors of the rainbow, but they're actually 7.
Are there 7?
There's 7.
Maybe
I think it's all relative, you know, who really knows?
Is the 7th color the pot at the end of the rainbow?
Maybe, but you know, I don't know if it's indigo or violet you left off, but they're actually 7.
You're right, possibly.
I think if people see this, they don't worry about how many colors there are in the real rainbow. I think they just engaged with your work.
Exactly. I hope the video, obviously there's a glitch, but I will explain to you exactly how to do it. After you put all those colors down on the Glad wrap, which is a piece, you roll it up.
How were you doing that? You had the Glad wrap, you had them in the bags, and then what were you doing? Squeezing them out?
You squeeze it out into lines. As you go into the lines will land up being the rainbow horizontally, or at least parallel to each other. And you take the Glad wrap, you roll it over.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's there. You roll it over, you turn it like a Swiss roll. As you turn it like a Swiss roll, you've now got it inside your Glad wrap. The Glad wrap now becomes like it's a total package. You don't have to fuss over the colors and have it all over your kitchen. Once it's rolled up, you put it straight into your piping bag, and it becomes a easy, no fuss, no mess. I don't know why the video hasn't gone further. Maybe the airdrop didn't work, but anyway, we'll go past that. When you turn all those colors,
that's working. It's working.
Yeah, you're a genius. Okay.
Yeah, there is an additional color.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Okay. And obviously, so you're icing, so that's ganache, eh?
No, that is a buttercream icing.
Buttercream ice, and it doesn't go into each other?
No, you'll see as you do it, you're very gentle with it, and the buttercream is quite chilled. So it's a chilled version so that it doesn't actually squash into one another.
Okay, so you make it, then you chill it.
The sound should come up, because you can see exactly what I'm doing there. You can either use a Ziploc or you can use a regular piping bag that you can buy at a baking store, like the chocolate.
Hey guys, I'm gonna press play again. I'm gonna share the sound this time.
Okay.
Cool.
This is the head that I'm using today. It is quite a wide one. It's number 857, and this is a nib that you can get at any baking shop.
And we are going to now insert this Glad Wrap rainbow. We're going to cut off the end so that it exposes the rainbow. And to make it nice, we're going to insert it straight into the nib and roll up your icing bag from the middle.
Wow. Genius. I could never figure that out until now.
Then I'm going to move on to another version.
Another option I'm going to show you is a Decadent chocolate swirl cupcake for your father. What about that? It's Father's Day nearly happening, and we are going to see how we're going to treat him. So if your cupcake is not perfectly baked and flat, and you can see it's got a slight edge of a bad dome, all you have to do is you're going to have to just cut off the top, just a little hat. Not everyone bakes perfectly, and that helps us by giving us a more level edge. We're going to take this cupcake, and it's going to be covered by the icing anyway, so no one will see that you have cut it. And we're going to take our swirl, the same as we did the rainbow, hold it up in the middle, get the swirl, get the rose center. We're going to go round and round until we have a perfect rose. I'm going to show you how we're going to zhuzh it up just now in the next part.
So here is your rose, beautifully done with chocolate icing and a chocolate cupcake.
Now I've just made some ganache happen here. It's 2 parts chocolate to 1 part cream, which you take the cream, put in the microwave just to get it nice and warm, and throw it over your chocolate and let it stand. After you see the chocolate melting, you stir it around, and that forms a ganache, and that's what you've got here. So I've just taken a little bit of ganache, made it quite loose in the microwave, nice and runny, but not too runny. And all I'm going to do is take a fork inside the ganache, and I'm just going to flick it. Put some baking paper underneath so that you don't make your entire kitchen full of chocolate ganache. You just take little threads of chocolate ganache over it, and this is what you'll end up with. As I finish up here with the last part of this, I'm going to keep a secret for the live demonstration of doing something extra just to make extra sparkle for this Decadent cupcake, and you'll have to wait to see the end result.
Right, so I'm going to show you basically, if you can see my cupcakes here. These are the end results. I've just put them into a beautiful little, that you can buy at a baking shop, these little compartments for each little cupcake, and it makes you look so pretty on the table that it's nicely presented. These are my rainbow ones, which you can use you can even use a box mix just to get your basic cupcake, and then you now found out the trick of how we get the rainbow icing done. So I'm going to first start with the rainbow ones. I'll move on to the Decadent ones just now. And I'm just going to show you, if you want to zhuzh them up a little bit more, you can either take a nice lollipop, and you can buy them anywhere. They're just nice and colorful. You can just stick it into your cupcake, and you'll end up with these sort of things for a kid's party. Or else, there are all sorts of tricks. You can get these molded butterflies, and you can maybe make a little butterfly on top. You stick it into the icing and make it nice and pretty. Or else there's lots of other trinkets that you can buy at different art stores, little like a P&A that gives all these sort of little edges to what they call those oh my God, I've lost the words. How will you help me here?
I'm a little lost here myself. You're saying baking shop. Where on earth do you find a baking shop?
Well, the baking shops, there actually are quite a few varieties of them. The one that offers the most kosher ingredients are at the Chocolate Den with Tony Birren's store. And she is very, very amazing with the information on all the kosher products that are out there. She has got a huge variety. She brings them in, she imports them. There are all sorts of things that she does. And I have to give a shout out to her, because if it wasn't for her, half of this baking can't be done as a kosher product. So she really tries her hard.
I have to tell you, I have been there. Yeah.
Where is the baking den? You can't tell us about it and not help people find it.
So the Chocolate Den is in Dower Glen area, just over the highway from Linksville. Just cross over the highway and there's a big like little shopping center actually. So there's like a shopping center with flats above, and she's down in the basement. And Tony's just amazing. She's got you walk in there, it's my sanctuary, it's my home. They greet you by name. They know the bakers. They've just got the most amazing selection. And
yeah, they really do. I have to tell you, I find that place evil, because I also, when I get there, I start getting excited that I'm a real baker. And I've bought cake pop machines, and I buy about 10 kilos of chocolate, because I always think I'm going to make colored chocolates. I need white chocolates. But it literally is like a little playground for bakers. It's amazing.
It's a playground. But you know what? Every baker that is out there turns around and says, I just need that one more cutter. I need that one more item. And you know what? Sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't. But just because this business, that's little cake industry that we all sit in our kitchens harboring these little concoctions, is all about the tools. And once you've got the tools, you can make the most profound, amazing creations. And with a little bit of head, this can also be done at home. So the second thing I'm going to do, yes.
Kim, just before do you have a Rosh Hashanah machine?
I think I'm the Rosh Hashanah machine. I don't have Lauren's equipment.
You don't have Lauren's Rosh Hashanah machine.
I think I'm going to move into Lauren for Rosh Hashanah, and she can give me some tips, because I think her cooking and baking is absurd. It's magnificent. She's an inspiration. Her mother was an inspiration when I was a child. So, I mean, it's definitely flowed through the generations.
We will definitely ask the Chocolate Den if maybe they can start stocking some Rosh Hashanah machines for us.
We need Rosh Hashanah machines. Make our Rosh Hashanah. If a Pesach machine was available, I'd take this one. Let me show you what I'm going to cook up for you now, Howie. This is just for you. Can you see? Is it close enough?
Yep.
Okay. So I thought I'd go with a little bit of adult decadence here. So in order to zhuzh this up, because we're at that stage, I got chuckles. The rest of the packets for me later when I get into bed and hide from Leon. Right. So we've got something called dust. Okay, it comes in all different colors and all different versions, but this is a gold dust. So you take your chuckles, you put a little bit of dust into it, and you literally, a nice Yiddish word, shochel it around. And as it shochels around, because unfortunately the chuckles are full of fat, it picks up the gold dust. And now you have gold balls.
I've always wanted those.
Gold balls, gold chuckles.
Golden balls.
At this stage, right. So gold balls it is. There is also silver dust. There's all different colored dust that you can get, and they all stick pretty well to the chuckles. But to make it like extra special, you just swirl them around in the gold dust, and all of a sudden you now have got something that's a lot more decadent. It's a type of a Ferrero Rocher come your own version of the gold dust. I mean, of the gold balls, sorry. And to make it extra decadent, they do have it. These are something called a pipette, okay? So it's basically a little taste of alcohol liqueur. And all you do with the pipette, I've got some illicit ingredient, which I've had in my cupboard for, and my friends know me, I don't drink. So this most probably has been here since my daughter's bat mitzvah, but it hasn't gone off. You take your pipette with any of your liqueurs that you want, and you basically suck up your liqueurs of whatever one you want, and it just gives a flavor. So in London, Peggy Portion they do this type of thing as well, where they put coulis into your pipette. And so before you land up eating the thing, whatever you land up eating, you then take the little coulis. I'm going to do a demonstration, and you put it all over your...
Oh, nice. So you said, where do you get those pipettes? Also at the baking shop?
Also at the baking shop. So you give a flavor. A customer of mine that I delivered them to took the pipette out and decided to put into their coffee first and then eat the cupcake. So at least your dad can have a little bit of his own alcohol, whether it be whiskey or rum or anything that's sweet. You can't do tequila or a vodka. I think you must keep it as sweet as possible. The other thing you can do with the truffle, because you've made them gold, is smash them up a bit, which I'm going to show you. I'll take this Ellie Williams bottle. And you just crush them up. Sorry, let me put the screen down.
What have you done to my golden balls?
I've smashed them, Howie.
If I was Leon, I would definitely go sleep in a different bedroom tonight.
I feel like I'm sitting on your couch and we're having a good chat, Howie.
You are.
He's on his couch. He's very happy.
And then you land up putting your pipette in with now crushed golden balls.
My goodness.
Okay, and that's how we do slightly more decadent cupcakes. And you've got the kids' cupcakes that you can see here. Let me move my gold dust. So you've got different versions of all the different toppings that make it extra special. And I think that that is a good, easy, simple version that anyone can do. Dina, I know you're going to have an attempt at this. I hope so.
I am. I'm going to get myself some pipettes.
You get some pipettes. You get those large ones. You take a big syringe.
Exactly.
And Dina, when you need the golden balls, you know where to come, eh?
I know where. Maybe I should get a bit of gold and silver balls.
Dina, Howard, and Dan, you have been phenomenal. You've got us through lockdown. You are the most amazing team. You're actually a power team, the three of you. I can't thank you enough for just acknowledging me and making sure that I can be on your panel. I am absolutely humbled and honored. And thank you so much for letting me be part of this.
Listen, you are phenomenal. I've tasted your goods. I've seen your goods. You astound me every single time I see a new creation. So it's actually a privilege to have you on. So thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Just before you go, I see there's a question that's come in about your recipe for the buttercream icing. Is that something that you're willing to share, or can people Google it?
There is lots of buttercream icings. There are loads of versions. There's all sorts of Italian meringues and buttercreams and all the rest. And you can get them on absolutely anything. I've got a secret recipe. It's my trusted prize secret. So as much as I'd love to hand it out, I think that the Google machine works just as well. I'm sorry that I can't give that out, but
no, I hear you.
More than enough.
My problem with my buttercream is that every time, especially with my kids, when they want to do the cake, they make the buttercream and then they ice straight away. So it seems we've got to put it in the fridge first. You got to make it actually cool it down first.
The only trick that you must know as far as a cake is concerned is that you have to leave a cake for at least overnight in the fridge. What happens is the fat of whatever you're using, whether it's butter, we're finding, I'm on a big British bakers group, and the Stork Bake, which is, it is a margarine, has definitely given us much better results than butter. Butter itself is quite heavy, it's denser, it's definitely good for certain baking, but for your general baking of not chiffons, of Madeira vanilla cakes, Stork Bake is the way to go. And because you put that in and it's dense in fat, it's got to sit in the fridge just to make sure that it just becomes harder and much easier to ice and less crumbs. And it definitely is the trick to icing a cake. It can't be done the minute it comes out the oven.
Okay, yeah. You see, these are small little tricks that you think people know, or you think people know, but actually us poor commoners who have to cook at home, bake at home, don't know these things. So thank you.
Commoner. Are there any other questions?
So someone
No,
said, I said you sounded so bad. What did I say?
Okay.
Cool. Kim, tell us, if people want to follow you on Instagram and drool the way I do, tell us what your Instagram account is again.
Okay, my Instagram account is The Cook Sister, spelled KOEKSISTER 68. I won't give away what 68 is about, but I think you can work it out. So that's my Instagram page.
We all wish you were born 1 year later.
And then how we wouldn't have the golden balls.
Thank you, Kim. That's a wonderful, wonderful and most delicious looking thing. And I think anyone who's ever tasted your food just understands how spectacular it really is. So huge thank you. Thank you for joining us.
I really do. It touches my heart. Thank you from all of you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
So Dina, a few people have said to me they want to still donate some money to the Jewish Report to thank us for putting these things together, because you do this for free, I do this for free, Dan does this for free, but we're trying to get a newspaper out there, and that needs the community support as well. And anyone who donates us more than 1,000 Rand tonight, in fact, we are giving this book to. So
absolutely, and it's an amazing, amazing book. And not only that, but we also have Mantis, who are giving us also wonderful prizes of guarding services. And in addition to four prizes of guards. And in addition to that, we have committed as the Jewish Report to take 25% of all donations this evening and donate them towards getting blankets for those who cannot afford them and who desperately need them in these times.
So that's amazing. So Dan, if I could ask you, I know you're having some computer issues, but you've put up the poll. We're going to leave it up for a minute. If you haven't given a donation through to the Jewish Report and you'd really like a chance to stand in line to win one of those prizes, we'd be very grateful if you would really show your support to us this evening, and you stand a chance to win one of those 4 Mantis prizes of guards for 48 hours in your home, as well as anyone who gives more than 1,000 Rand tonight will in fact receive this remarkable book that's put together by Karen Liebman and Joanne Epstein. I'm going to open it onto a random page just to show you, I don't know what that was, but some of the best chefs in the world, lamb bunny chow, and here is Ralph Bronson and Antheos with an unpronounceable last name with lamb Suvlaki and Tzatziki. You can get one of these books tonight. All you have to do is just give a donation of 1,000 Rand or more to the Jewish Report, and 25% of all the donations tonight will go towards blankets that we'll give to the needy at this time where it's going to be -1 degree in Johannesburg tonight, and Cape Town's been absolutely storming. So just a huge thank you to everyone who's given a donation tonight. Really appreciate it. We'll let all our winners know tomorrow. So also, we have advice from Dr. Daniel Israel.
We do. We're learning so much.
So he's told us why we need to wear masks. He's told us whether we should wear a visor or a mask. And I'd love it if he could give us a little more advice now.
Absolutely.
So
need it.
let me just up my volume so people don't complain that it's too soft. And here we go.
Some guy told me in my rooms recently that this coronavirus is going to last a while. I think he's just being negative. But just say he's right. If you go through a mask every day, you're in for a lot of masks. So the question is, how do you reuse these masks? If you're using a surgical mask, you could take some alcohol spray and spray the mask down after you've used it, hang it out in the sun and let it dry. The problem with this is that eventually the mask will break. These masks break easily. It will kill the virus though, so that is a possibility until the mask breaks. If you're using a cloth mask, you can wash this mask. When the virus is exposed to high temperatures, it dies. So just a few cloth masks that can be washed on a rotating basis like your underwear means that you don't need more than that. That's my recommendation.
So Dina, the advice is rotate your cloth masks like your underwear and wash them regularly.
Yes, and we just hope that most people have relatively good levels of hygiene. So yes, please rotate. And also, apparently you must iron your mask. So rotate, wash, and iron.
Rotate, wash, and iron your underwear and your masks.
Yes, definitely. Everyone needs nicely ironed underwear.
Fantastic. So tell us, who is next?
So we have Sorel Cohen next. Let us see. The only problem is apparently she has the power's been out. Let's see. So yeah, let's go to Sorel. So she's had a few challenges. So she did actually pre-record some of her stuff. She's going to be making us macarons. Dan, can we bring up Sorel?
So I've brought Sorel up onto the stage. She should be joining us right now in the dark.
In the dark. So guys, you know, this is the South African show. We're proudly South African, and as I think it's just because the president spoke, the lights have gone out. And again, we like to have a show with a difference. So there's Sorel in the dark. How are you, Sorel?
I'm in the dark.
I really thought she was joking. She messaged me to say she's got torches on her.
It's gone like 2 minutes ago. It just went into darkness. So fortunately, it was all recorded before.
All right.
Sorel, I got a call from Suzanne Ati, very upset because we anointed you the macaron queen. In fact, we anointed you the macaroon queen, and she said, learn how to spell macarons properly. And how on earth does Sorel get to be the macaron queen and not her?
It's my Joburg status. Unfortunately, Susie is in Cape Town, but she is an outstanding cook, and I have had her macarons, and they are also outstanding. So it's purely a proximity thing. I definitely don't deserve the title away from her.
Maybe you can share the title.
Well, I'm very, very flattered to share it with Susie.
So, okay, quick questions. Where are the best macarons in the world, La Dorie or Pierre Hermé?
So I think they are both outstanding. Paris is the capital of macarons. I even have, and now I don't know if you can see, but I bought myself a present a few years ago of the Pierre Hermé macaron cookbook, which I must be honest, it's a very complicated recipe, and I do a far simpler one, which I'll share tonight. And the La Dorie macarons are also outstanding. The flavors, the colors, they are just a work of art.
So, of course, Pierre Hermé used to be a chef at La Dorie before he broke away and he started his own macaron shop. But he's much more creative in terms of ganaches and fillings than La Dorie was. Still in La Dorie, for those people who've never gone to the restaurant on the Champs-Élysées, which has been around since, I think, the 1700s, there's still a sign up in the restaurant that says women should not be permitted to be seated there by themselves.
We won't comment on that.
So you should always be accompanied by a man when you go to La Dorie. So tell us, tonight you're going to be showing us how to make macarons.
Yes, so that was when I still fortunately had lights this morning. That is the outcome of my meringue mix. I tried to record it, me making it, but unfortunately my mixer is terribly loud and you couldn't hear anything over it. So there we go. There should be a video as well. The meringue, once it's finished being beaten, and we then just break the meringue, which is really just beating it hard with a good strong spatula until it breaks down a little bit, and you get a lot of frustration from lockdown. So that is how you break it down. And it starts to become quite nice and shiny and liquid and lava-like. I'm then going to take my mixture here, which I've already done, and this is equal parts almond flour and icing sugar, and then a little bit of cocoa for chocolate macaroons, and I'm going to fold it into this mixture in 3 equal parts, more or less.
That is a lot of mixing, Sorrel. You got your point.
There's a lot of mixing, but you don't want to have bits of flour and almond flour. So that's very finely sifted almond flour, which I've then combined with icing sugar, and, as I said, a little bit of cocoa. You should use the best quality ingredients that you can use. There is very little to a macaron. So if you use cheap, nasty ingredients, they will taste cheap and nasty, unfortunately. So if you use, you know, you should use a very, very nice cocoa. A Dutch cocoa is excellent. The chocolate then, while we are speaking about them, have some amazing cocoas from other parts of the world, and they are wonderful. They really do make a difference to the flavor of your macarons.
Howard, do you have some Dutch cocoa? Is that that?
So to then transfer it to a piping bag and put our macaroons into the oven.
So Ron, in fact,
so it's onto a ready-made macaroon mat, which is quite convenient.
Oh, don't you have a macaroon mat?
You need macaroon mats. Evenly on here.
Dina, I seriously do have a macaroon mat.
Do you? Okay, now I'm impressed.
Just give them a good bang.
Still in the box.
I have the tray over here. And don't worry about whacking them too hard. Just get some of the air out. Hold your mat down. And there you go.
The dog's petrified.
They will then go into the
He's
oven.
worried he'll be next.
Can you still make this if you don't have a dog?
You can make it if you don't have a dog. A dog is not required. And our timer.
How long did you put it on for?
So they go on for 16 minutes, and I do set a timer because you don't want your macarons to be overcooked. Lots of different things. So the nice thing is they're gluten-free and they're pareve, so the sky's the limit. I'm going to fill them in this particular case with a chocolate ganache, which is equal parts cream, which I've got here on the stove top. So you don't want the cream to burn, you just need it to heat up to the point where it basically gets to a shiver. Not quite there yet. And then what I'm going to do is add some chocolate and some butter to it, let it go in and let it melt down until we've got the ganache. And it's fairly cool today, so in winter you can probably just let it cool to room temperature until it sets nicely. In summer you might need to put it into the fridge for a bit. Just make sure that you take it out in time to do that, otherwise it's very difficult to spread.
What chocolate is that, Sorrel?
Once I put it in there, I'm just going to add my chocolate and let it melt in, and I will see you later to fill them.
Very nice. I was saying, what chocolate were you using?
So I used the De Villiers chocolate, which is one of the local ones. Again, not your Cadbury Bourneville chocolate. Unfortunately, you're not going to have a very nice ganache. And unlike Kim's ganache earlier, this is a much thicker one because you're using it to fill it. So hers was runnier. She used it more as a drizzle. This I'm going to use to fill, and I'm hoping there's going to be enough light so that you can see I've got some ready-made. Once we're off the screen there.
You can go get some neighbors to add some torches.
There we go. So those are the filled ones. And you can see here's my ganache, which is there. It is quite stiff, as you can see. And I'm literally just going to take it into my macaron shells. And I'm going to spread some on there. Take a second one. And I give it a little twist. And there you go. So there's the little chocolate ones, and yeah, it makes quite a lot of them. And these ones, you should see, they're quite nice and shiny. They've got a nice little foot, and hopefully there we have a reasonably perfect macaron. So I hope that we're going to enjoy those later with some tea, which we won't be able to make in the dark.
So what is the difference between a macaroon and a macaron?
So a macaroon is that thing with lots of coconut that we have on Pesach, which on the 5th day of Pesach tastes amazing because you'll eat anything. A macaron is made with almond flour. And yeah, there are different methods. So the one I used is it's quite a quick one. There's a Swiss method, there's an Italian method to use the different ways of making the meringues. I like the one which is the 3-minute method because it takes 3 minutes and doesn't involve any cooking and candy thermometers, which the others do involve. So this is quite a simple one. And the almond flour makes it different from your normal macaroons.
So it's important for people who are watching to understand the difference between a good macaron and a terrible macaron is what percentage almond flour you use in the macaron. If you are using less, if you're using less than 60% almond flour, 60% to 40% sugar, if you use less than 60%, you're going to get a terrible result.
Well, Howie, I did use 50-50, so
I should have asked before. Don't do it. 60-40 is the correct percent.
That's the correct ratio. Mine was always done on a 50-50 basis. So I haven't had too many complaints, but next time I'm prepared to try your 60-40.
And that is why Suzanne Atti may be the real macaron queen.
Well, then we'll have to give Suzanne the credit.
I feel we may have to have a bake-off in Cape Town.
When we can finally fly to Cape Town, I look forward to it.
Look, they do have lights in Cape Town, just saying.
No comment. I'm sure this is a big power failure that we're having right now.
It is because two of our other panelists are in the dark, apparently, as well.
So Esti's in the dark and Shmuel's in the dark. Dina, can I give you a little more advice from our good Dr. Daniel Israel about masks and gloves, and we can try locate some of our panelists in the dark?
Absolutely, indeed, and thank you, Cyril. I did not know that it was even possible to make that at home. I didn't even know that you could even have your own macaron tray. So now I'm completely enlightened. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks a million.
What the hell? Let's reaffirm my position on gloves. In my mind, gloves only have one purpose in this pandemic, and that's to remind you that we're in a pandemic. If you wear gloves, you're going to have to treat your gloves as if they're your hands. If you go out and wear gloves and touch surfaces that may have coronavirus on them and then touch your eyes and your face, you might as well not be wearing the gloves. So in my mind, don't wear the gloves, use your normal hands. If you're out and you're touching surfaces, don't touch your eyes, don't touch your mouth, and make sure that you wash your hands before you allow yourself to touch your eyes and mouth. If that's not second nature to you, then you may want to wear gloves to remind yourself that while I'm wearing gloves, I can't touch my eyes and my mouth. But there is no other reason to wear gloves at any time.
I feel so enlightened, Howie. Don't you feel enlightened?
I feel properly enlightened there. It's absolutely amazing what the advice that Daniel
Oh, I think we've lost Howie. I'm not sure.
We lost Howie.
Just we are having a lot of technical issues tonight. The president speaks, and that is what happens.
No, I hope I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome back, Howie.
Thank you. I was saying we had Sorrel in darkness, and now we have a ghostly figure in front of us. And I think that's still Sorrel. I'm not.
It is still me. My torchlights have gone.
Your torchlights have gone. Let's see if we can take you back into the audience, and then we're going to try find our other panelists.
Esty should be next. But Sorrel, I just have to tell you that your camera crew were outstanding. So the entire Cohen family gets a huge heads up from us for their technical abilities.
So Dina, in the darkness we have Shmuel and we have Esty. Shmuel's run out of data, but he's trying to get more data at the moment. So I'm promoting Esty onto the panel.
Absolutely, Esty is next. And talk about cakes and creations. I mean, Esty herself is just an absolute genius and master of art when it comes to her creations. I don't know if she's with us.
I'm here.
There you are.
I am here. Sorry, there we go. Hello, everybody. Hi, Howard. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Esty. How's it?
Good. How are you?
You ran next door to your neighbor who's got an inverter.
It's my sister, and I'm very lucky to live in the same complex as her because she literally, me and her ran with all the bowls and everything next door so we can go on. So I'm very,
an
very
amazing
grateful
story
and
of
lucky to have her in general. But
amazing story of South African resilience.
Absolutely.
And also, I don't know if you've seen, some of her creations. Also, we couldn't really show all of them now because we've had some technical challenges, but I'm going to hold up my phone just so you can, I don't know if you can see. No, you can't actually see any of these creations. Can you see some?
Is that on Instagram? Do you know where are you looking?
It's on Instagram, on Esty's page, on Esties_practical_art.
Esty, plural. Okay, I found it.
So just so we can bring it up. Sorry, just in terms of our challenges, we couldn't get it on yet. So it's Esties, did you find it? _practical_art. And Esty does birthday parties as well. So she teaches kids how to make fondant and unicorns and all these things that you think are completely like out of your scope. And then funnily enough, they come out and they've got amazing creations. So it's really, really a wonderful thing. So there we go. See a little, I think you, Esty, you
looks so healthy.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
It's part of the Banting diet.
Yes, definitely Banting. Not at me.
I mean, how's that? And how long does it take you to make a cake like that?
So, wow, cakes can be a minimum of half a day's work to days and sometimes even weeks if we're working on wedding cakes and big celebrations. Some of the sculpting where I sculpt very detailed figurines take days and days because you have to do part of it, let it dry and continue. And sometimes it doesn't come out like the person you're sculpting, so you have to redo it and so on and so on. So it's really hours of work and labor of doing it.
Yeah, but you love it.
I do. I'm very blessed to be doing what I love. I do. I feel very blessed.
I was talking to one of my neighbors today, and they were saying that just the ingredients for a simple cheesecake today is more than 200 Rand for ingredients.
Absolutely.
Just the cost.
Absolutely. A cheesecake, a good cheesecake where you don't spare and you don't exchange with corn flour and milk. And if you want a real cheesecake, costs approximately anything from 220 to 300 Rand, depends how much you want to indulge. Obviously, it can go up if you want to add chocolates and special mousses, but one of my most basic cakes don't cost less than 220, 250 Rand to just to buy the ingredients.
Yeah, no, I've seen. And you
so
were telling us
an indulging recipe dessert to make.
All right. And when we spoke, Esther, you were saying to me that it's ironic because in South Africa, everyone does a baked cheesecake. And you said, but the majority of people in Israel do a non-baked cheesecake. So what are you going to be making?
Okay, so I think in Israel, a lot of the mommies, especially, and women, I work a lot with mommies and kids. That is the majority of my business. And a lot of times mommies, especially in Israel, the majority works and we don't have time and we need quicker recipes, easier recipes. A lot of the recipes also to do with the kids. So a lot of the workshops that I also did online during lockdown were very kid and parent friendly. So this is also part of that. So this cheesecake that I'm going to show you now, there's no baking. It's very easy. Your kids can even make it on their own. Depends on how independent they are in the kitchen. They might need a twist of help here and there with the mixer. Other than that, very easy to make. But again, the cheese and the ingredients you'll have to buy and pay for.
Cool. So are we going to watch a video of the making? How are we going to see this?
No. So what I've done, I've prepared the three parts of it, and I'll walk you through it, and then I'll give you the recipe to post in the email tomorrow. Okay. So
Fantastic.
I'm going to put my camera on my bowls so you can see. Tell me if you can all see.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Now we can see.
Perfect. So we'll actually start the other way. So in this bowl, I take biscuits, and now you take any biscuits you like. I love plain, simple Mari biscuits. You can go from 1.5 to 2 packets, depends how much crumbs you like. You beat them up. You can put them in a packet or use a hammer and really make crumbs with it, or a food processor. You melt 100 grams of butter and you put it in here all together and you just mix it and they become nice and soft from the butter. That is the first thing to do. So crumbs, biscuits. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to beat whipping cream, 500 mils. Don't add anything to it. You just beat it up in your mixer. You can use a hand mixer. You can use your Kenwood, your stand mixer, anything. Okay. Then, and this is the cheese part. I've used 1 cream cheese and 2 smooth cottage cheese. I used 2, so it's 3 altogether. You are more than welcome to play with it. If you prefer more cream cheese, then substitute. If you want to do all of them with smooth cottage, that's also fine. And also I've added an instant pudding, Simply Delish. If you can get the Israeli Awesome one, much better. If you can't, this will do the job just fine. I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla to this. So I've already beaten my cheese in the mixer with the pudding. You really want to get your cheese nice and soft. And I'm also going to add some lemon grind. So you just take your lemon and you grate it on the smallest one. This will really, really give it a nice flavor and smell. Okay. If you like your cheesecake very sweet, you are more than welcome to add either icing sugar or caster sugar, about 2 tablespoons. But if you're using the Awesome instant pudding, you'll find that you don't need to, because it is sweeter. Okay, once we've done that, I'm just going to give it a good mix. I could have done that while I was mixing it in the mixer. But hence the power, hence the running houses. We're going to just do it by hand, which is fine. So I'm just folding it in. And the next thing to do, very easy, we're going to take our cream and we're just going to pour it in. And we're going to fold all of this. This part you fold, you don't use a mixer. You want it to stay fluffy. So just use a spatula or a spoon, that's okay. So I'm just going to let my sister keep on folding this a little bit while I'll show you how we're going to prepare our biscuit. So you can take a beautiful dish, or you can even use a normal Pyrex one. If you want to give it as a gift, you can maybe put it in a tin foil dish. That's also okay. Whatever you like. Because I'm going to actually keep this for Thursday night, I'm making it in a beautiful dish. You're going to take 3/4 of your biscuit. You're just going to pour it in. You're going to keep 1/3 in your bowl, and you're just going to press. We're going to press the crumbs down. Yeah, we made quite a lot for this dish. So we're going to take some out, and we're going to make some cupcakes with what's left. That's another thing. You can also make these into cupcakes. You just take a cupcake tin and you put cupcake paper in, and then you scoop into each one the cookie crumbs, and then you put the cheese in, and then we'll show you how we're going to continue this. Yeah, so you gotta mix your cheese and your cream until you hardly have any lumps. It does take a few good minutes just to get it nice and smooth. No, I think it's okay. We're almost there. Just make sure you don't have any lumps. And this is the time to taste. If you like it more sweet, you can add a little bit more, either caster or icing sugar. Don't use normal sugar because of the grains. And now I'm going to scoop the cheese mixture into my bowl.
And what cheese did you use?
What cheese?
Yeah.
So I used 1 cream cheese, Lancewood cream cheese, and 2 smooth cottage cheese, also Lancewood. But you can also use the Halal Israel one, the Genuine Food, anything you like. The Woolies one also. But it's not recommended to use all 3 of them cream cheese because it is way, way too rich and way, way too thick. I love using the smooth cottage cheese. It's nice to work with, and obviously it's delish. And if you like that tinge that it's got, but it goes well with the vanilla pudding. So I'm just going to get all of it in there. We're almost there.
Dina, you made the cheesecake today, didn't you?
I actually did, indeed. I tried to make things. I have to say, I actually did use all cream cheese. So it is very rich. So you can't have too much of it at one time. But I did. I used like actual the full cream cheese. And I decided to add a bit of chocolate in to make a chocolate cheesecake just for a little bit of a change. But I also like to mix it up every time I do something. So like in terms of using the Mari biscuits versus tennis biscuits. But you always do get a bit of a different result. But it's nice to, I think, try things differently. But I always bake my cheesecake, which is why I actually said to Esty is that I've always baked a cheesecake. I don't even know how to make a non-baked cheesecake. But this actually looks very easy.
So going back, yeah, it is very easy. Going back to your biscuits, by the way, it's hard to find them here. But in Israel, what I used to do is I used to do my biscuits half petit beurre, which is like Mari biscuits, and half lotus. Which, so for here in South Africa, you can use the baker's ginger biscuits, which also work well. Just also do half. Okay, so let me just put that away. And what we're going to do now is we're going to clean the sides because we want it to look nice and aesthetic. Aesthetic, yeah. We want it to look pretty and clean. I'm just going to clean my sides.
All right, Esty, someone's asking about any suggestions for a dairy alternative or dairy-free cheesecake option.
Dairy-free?
Yeah, for cheesecake. Tofu?
So you can do coconut cream. Very good. I've made a delicious desserts. I use a lot of coconut cream in my Pareve desserts for Shabbos at the studio, which we use a lot of coconut cream. You can also freeze the coconut cream. And then you will find that after 3-4 hours in the freezer, let me come back to you, 3-4 hours in the freezer, the cream and the water will separate, and that's what you want. So the thing is also, it's very costly, even more than the cheese, because you will need like 4 or 5 tins, if not more, to make even a smaller portion than this. So you put in the freezer, they will separate. After a few good hours, you take only the white part from the coconut, and you literally beat it like you would any whipping cream. It just takes longer. It won't be as stiff as cream, but it does do a good job. And you can, again, add whatever you like to it. You can add the pudding, you can add sugar. I've tried once just to put honey, and it didn't really absorb the sweetness. So you're gonna have to go with sugar or pudding or both. You can add vanilla to it. Another alternative, which I don't have experience with, is cashew butters and nuts, which is even triple the price, but obviously delicious. And also what I do also use a lot at the studio for my Parav desserts is the Riches cream, the one that you buy 2 liters. They sell them frozen, I think, at Kosher World. And they are really delish. And they're really easy to work with because you can't really overbeat them because it's not a dairy product. And you can, the variety of things you can do with that. You can make mousses, and obviously, like a cheesecake, mix that together with your coconut cream. And again, you can put your coconut cream back in the freezer after you've treated it and done whatever you want with it, and it will go a bit harder again. So it will resemble a cheesecake more.
Esther, okay. You can just move your camera a little higher. We're currently not looking.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if we're going to be on the cake or on me. So, okay. We're back here.
All right, so your cake's now done. That's it, huh?
No, almost done. Almost done. Okay.
Okay.
So now,
before you go on, D. Tanner asks us, how can you make this gluten-free? Can you, in fact, make this gluten-free?
So you can get gluten-free biscuits for sure. But except for the biscuits, there's no gluten in here. So choose a gluten-free base biscuits that you get wherever, at Discam or wherever you like, or nuts. And yeah, you can get nut biscuits with almond flour and everything, and just use those. So you do exactly the same, just change your biscuits.
Fantastic.
Okay, so almost done, guys. I'm going to bring the screen back to the cake, okay?
Cool.
Okay, so remember the third that we left of crumbs? We're going to spread that nicely. We're going to sprinkle it actually on in a very thin layer. You don't want it to be a thick layer, but again, unless you absolutely love tons of biscuits, go ahead, go wild. And what I absolutely love about no-bake cheesecake is to add strawberries to it. Now, at home, I feel free to do it. I clean it like I want. At the studio, because I'm under the bed then, it is for kashrut reasons. It's a bit tricky, so we can't keep them whole. We can't keep them green with the green part on. We have to slice them, and the mashgiach comes and checks and really washes them nicely. But for home, I do like to keep the green on. I love the color. We eat with our eyes first, and I'm going to slice this very thinly, but not all the way through, almost to the green part. By the way, you can also use berries. You can use any of those. You can grate chocolate.
That's the most delicious strawberry. Where did you get it?
Let's see where this one from. Of course, Woolies.
From Woolies, okay.
But that's how she cut that strawberry.
So I'll show you one more. So Fresh Fellas also sells good strawberries, by the way.
So am I allowed to say that while Woolworth strawberries always look delicious, I'm not sure they taste like strawberries at all, but Thrupp strawberries are in a league of their own?
Oh, I haven't tried Thrupp, so I'm going to have to try and get back to you on that.
Okay, deal.
Okay, so here's our cheesecake, guys. So another thing I want to tell you before we go, you can also make the chocolate ganache like dear Kim did, and put that before the sprinkle of the crumbs, if you like that. Just put a nice coat of ganache, and then you can add the crumbs or leave the crumbs, whatever you like. The last thing I want to tell you that is the most important thing about this cake, and you're going to hold yourself not to eat it right now. It has to go in the fridge overnight, if not 2 nights. It doesn't last the second night. It doesn't make it to second night in my house, but I do usually make it in the evening so they don't see it, they don't touch it. It just absorbs the flavors. It does go a little bit thicker, and it just becomes more of a cake than just a yogurt or a dessert, if that makes sense. So I highly recommend to hide it in the fridge behind everything. So as I said, I'm going to try and really keep this for Thursday night. Going to try my best. Let's see.
Fantastic. That looks absolutely delicious. I'm definitely also going to try that recipe. Wow. And I'm going to try and even cut a strawberry like that.
It's the last question. Someone is asking us, please tell us again what your Instagram handle is. They'd love to follow you.
Dan actually just also put it up. Sorry.
Okay, so it's Estes. Don't forget the S at the end. It's Estes Practical Art. And I'm also very active on Facebook, which is also Estes Practical Art. So it's Estes _practical _art. Yes, for Instagram, it's with the 2 underscores. On Facebook, I think you can just write Estes Practical Art, and you will see a green logo. It looks like a little green doily with a pink outline. And you're fully under the best in. People can come to your studios, commission cakes or buy cakes from you. So at the moment, yes, I'm definitely under the best in both Parev and Milchik. And I am a home studio at the back garden. So I'm by appointment only and orders only. But I try and accommodate everyone. So even if you are stuck and need some help in the last minute, I do tend to help. But yes, you rather call me before you come. It's not a shop, a 9-to-5 shop, but I am available all the time on WhatsApp. If you need anything, I do lots of, well, we're in lockdown, so I do Zoom birthday parties and lots of workshops. As I said, lots of work with kids. I love teaching kids and parents as well. And yes, novelty cakes, cupcakes, biscuits, anything, Shabbos, desserts, wedding cakes, everything. Fantastic. Dan will send out all your details tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been just amazing and so enlightening. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate that. It's the sort of dessert we can make with our lights off and no electricity in Johannesburg.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. Welcome to South Africa. Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. I really enjoyed it, and I was very excited to be on here with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Esty.
Sure.
So, Dina,
bye.
We've got one last bit of advice from Daniel Israel, and then we're going to go on to our final segment, which is exotic coffees.
Exactly, on to Shmuel. So let's go for Daniel, and then we'll bring up Shmuel.
Fantastic. Shmuel.
Let's talk about how to take a mask off when you get home. So the best way is when you get home, take some D-germ, hold it about 30 centimeters from your face and spray. I'm only joking. The GP industry's down at the moment, so we'd be happy with that, but it might not be the best thing for you. What you must remember is when you've been out, if for some reason someone has coughed respiratory droplets on the outside of your mask, this would be the contaminated area. So the best way to take a mask off is wash your hands, then touch only the straps of your mask. Take your mask off and then either send your mask for spraying or for washing if it's a material mask, and maybe rewash your hands again. It's as simple as that. Remember, wear your mask, be well, and keep safe.
I think we have learned everything we need to know about masks, about sanitizing. I feel very enlightened, and I'm not buying a visor.
Good, fantastic. So, Dina, we're on our last segment of the show.
We are, because after dessert always comes coffee. So what better way to end it off by bringing on Shmuel, who himself has been making coffees for years and delighting those who need their constant fix, and has beans from Rwanda to Ethiopia, and will give us some insight. Shmuel, can you hear us? Can you see us? You're on mute. So we are going to be waiting. He's still maybe having his last cup of coffee. Are you there? Were you with us? Just on mute. Okay, perfect. We got you. We see you. We hopefully hear you.
This is so exciting. I'm like, welcome to my table virtually.
Fantastic. Have you got power?
Yes, so I've got power, and I was literally off the grid until I realized that I was depleted of thing, and I got a dark hair, and then all of a sudden power came back on. That's literally a miracle. So, you know, I was thinking to myself, exotic coffee, and it's all very nice to exotic coffee, but if you can't get the basic right, then exotic coffee is not going to taste great. And the greatest thing is having coffee and cheesecake together. And that is absolutely epic. And I thought, well, these two beauties that I've got in front of me is a siphon and an AeroPress.
So Shmuel, can I interrupt you for a second? Sorry, your sound quality is almost inaudible. I know in practice we used your wife's phone. Is that by some chance still available?
Yeah, so I'm using my wife's phone now as we speak.
Okay. I'm afraid I'm struggling to hear you. I'm getting messages from people as well saying that the audio is just impossible.
Okay, so let me take it off the headphone, and then we'll go from there.
Cool.
Can you hear me now?
Much better, thank you.
Yeah, much better. It sounded like you were in an echo chamber.
Awesome. Sorry about that. So welcome to my virtual table of having coffee with me. There's nothing better than having a coffee and cheesecake. And the best thing is to do is make it as simple as possible without complicating anything. Because having a fancy, as I was saying earlier, unfortunately in Gambia, having a fancy drink and not having the basics right, then what are we drinking? So I like to go back a few steps and understand coffee for what it is, because cheesecake and coffee, what a start of a day. So if you, while I'm talking, I've already prepared ahead of time a few things just to speed up a little bit, because I know time is of essence, especially when drinking coffee. So over here in front of
is that a bong? Is that a bong?
Second.
Is that a bomb?
No. So with the siphon over here is basically there's two chambers. If the bottom chamber was completely sealed, I would be in big trouble, and so my wife would be. And normally it comes with a bunting burner, which is standard. I couldn't find it, and thank God I found this this gas burner, which is absolutely spot on, because then I can cook my water when the power's down. So we're gonna light this baby on.
That is quite a conception.
Where I'm pointing over here with my stirrer, there's a filter. And basically what will happen is I'm gonna heat the water up, and I'm gonna shoot to the top. And I'm gonna put the coffee in. And while that is doing that, I'm gonna move to the AeroPress. And the AeroPress is similar to your plunger, which is a massive machine that I have like that, which is awesome. And I found a hack. For people. So over here, I've got 25 grams of coffee. And I'm going to go ahead and pour that in to my siphon. And while that is going, I'm going to also put 20 grams of coffee into my AeroPress.
Does anyone else think that they're watching an episode of Breaking Bad?
That's exactly what I thought. I feel like your average Rosh Hashanah machine.
So, and then we've got also, so what I'm going to do here is similar to the plunger. I've already pre-boiled the water literally seconds ago. I'm going to cover the water and give it a stir. Okay, so the hack for everybody at home, if they want to make a cappuccino, now, before I get to that, because I want to leave that for last. The beautiful thing about this is easy to make. It's not complicated. Once you know, it's absolutely gorgeous. This is an inverted method. And slowly you'll see the water is absolutely rising up to the second chamber. With this baby only, you can make cappuccinos with. And it's a really cool. But in order to understand your own palate, you really got to understand, what do you like? Is it too strong or too weak? So for me, I like a little bit stronger, but for someone else. So you wouldn't play around with your water, how much water you putting in. Wouldn't play around anything but your coffee. You're either going to add more coffee or you add less coffee to make it weaker or to make it stronger.
At what time do the police burst in and arrest you?
At the bottom.
Oh, that is very funny.
I've already had a message from someone to ask if Shmuel bought these things in Amsterdam. But I wasn't sure if they were talking about the red light district or the coffee district.
So we're moving to the AeroPress over here. And then I'm giving a bit of a stir. While the water cools down, it will funnel back down through the filter, creating such an awesome, smooth coffee as a filter here for the AeroPress. I have made my first mistake. Yep. The wrong way around, guys. Let's see if I can fix this.
So definitely red light district.
Yep, the wrong way around. No stress. I'm going to quickly do a quick fix.
Howard, isn't this how you make your coffee at home?
Well, I don't really make coffee at home. I have an entire laboratory out the back that...
Just in case you need a quick espresso.
Exactly.
This is very serious stuff.
I'm going to pour back the coffee there. Now I've got the AeroPress the right way around. I'm going to tighten the lid.
Is this Nescafe?
No, he's got his own special beans. Sorry, he can't hear us because we're too far away. But
I was asking if this was Nescafe.
So do you want to put your headphones on so you can hear us? I know it's too far away.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Put it back on again.
Cool.
All right, we'll just repeat if we need to, just so you can hear us.
Shortly. Back to my ear.
About nowish.
Oh, and now have we lost him?
Yeah, I'm here again. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes. All right, so are you... All right, so Shmuel, if someone's at home and they've just got normal coffee or they've got beans, and they don't have your whole contraption, how do they make a cup of coffee? Do they have to have a plunger? Can they do it in that like silver container, you get on your stove?
So yes, so they can, and it's not expensive at all. I mean, it ranges anywhere between as low as $300 to $1,500 the most. And really, you don't need anything. You can order pre-ground coffee, so you don't have to buy a fancy grinder. I've got one over there, which is on the side. So I'm just quickly pushing down on the AeroPress.
Yeah, I think we've lost a visual. Howie, have you lost the visual?
Yeah, I can't see the visual. I've got a frozen image there. I don't know if maybe you can restart the
Wi-Fi is on. I can hear you perfectly, Howard.
So we can hear you, but we can't see you. It looks like the camera has frozen.
Camera's frozen.
You look like a Dutch DJ with coffee.
Oh yeah, we're trying to sort it out as well. So I don't know if you remember seeing the first two images of the AeroPress and the siphon.
Sure.
So I flipped over the AeroPress, which was on my left, which is the same thing that you could potentially use as a cappuccino, and basically I flipped it down. While I was doing that, my siphon was the water, the liquid of the coffee was cooling down. And when that happened, it filtered through back to the siphon, creating an extra smooth coffee. Now, for the person at home, if they have a plunger, yes, they can use it. And the mocha pot, very much so. If they don't have a grinder, it's not a big issue. I mean, you blue bean over here, roasting, which we can grind for you, so that you don't have to stress about the grinder.
So Shmuel, can I ask, you traditionally have always been rated in the top 10 coffee shops in Johannesburg. Where do we find you now?
So right now, I am at Moishi's Butchery. I've been put on hold. I'm healthy, thank God. They just want to monitor and make sure that it's a healthy environment over there.
All right, so outside Moishi's, you're saying, yeah.
Correct, Moishi's Butchery. And the blue bean is running at the background, which whatever I use at Moishi's, I use at blue bean. Sincerely speaking, I've been through many coffee beans in the 8-9 years of running coffee, and even though it is my company as well, I mean, still there's something about it. I'm taking my blue bean hat off, and I smell that bean every time. It just gets to me. There's something so poetic about it and so beautiful. I just go back to it because that's what it is.
So where do people, Shmuel, where do people get these blue bean? Where do they get the blue bean coffee? Where do they get the beans?
They could do it online, which is www.bluebeanroast.co.za, or they can contact me directly, or actually at Moishi's too. Moishi's Butchery stocks the beans too.
All right, I will put that in the chat, bluebeanroast.co.za.
Definitely. But before we go, I want to tell you the hack if there's a little bit of time, which this is inexpensive and it's absolutely gorgeous. If you don't know, you can watch my videos. I mean, I can do another one for you guys at another time. But basically, the bottom line of it is you take a pot, you take milk, be it Halibut, be it normal, it doesn't matter. You pour enough or a little bit more than just enough of milk. So let's say if your big mug is a liter, I don't judge, then you put a liter of milk in there. You put a thermometer if you have one, and you monitor the temperature of the milk to go to anywhere between 60 degrees to 70 degrees and nothing more. As you say, you got a plunger. It doesn't have to be a fancy plunger. It can be a simple one. You then put your milk, after it hits 60 to 70 degrees, you put your milk inside your plunger. And the part of it is very simple. You plunge it, if you would plunge for coffee, only difference is you're going to pump up and down for approximately 5 to 10 seconds. Then you either pour from the plunger, you take out the top part of the plunger, and then you pour straight into your cup of coffee, and that creates the coffee. Now, the way how I found getting the closest to a cappuccino without spending 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and going upwards thousands of rands is with the AeroPress that I did now for you. What I found is that it was too weak adding milk and the coffee. So what I did was I increased the amount of coffee ground So almost like double the dosage. So it was 20, I did 40 grams. And that gave me such a close experience to a cappuccino, which is absolutely mind-blowing.
Amazing. So Shmuel, thank you so much. I know, sorry, time has, I don't know where this evening has gone. We have had so much. I think we already, even like before Shavuot, already full from all of this, but that definitely doesn't beat a great cup of coffee, which I know you dish out so many of. So thank you so much. People, we've put up your email, your website, bluebeanroast.co.za. I know you're very passionate about the types of coffee, your beans of coffee. And thank you for giving us that demo. It's something I have truly never seen before. Howard, have you seen?
I absolutely haven't seen anything like that before. And I now feel like I should have concentrated more when I was doing science at school.
Yeah, I don't think that we had those in the science lab, though.
A lot more people would have concentrated in science if we had.
Exactly. There would have been a bit more caffeine in the mix.
So, Dina, how does a 90-minute show go on for nearly 3 hours?
Sure, you literally have me. I think that just people have got so many questions for all these people who make so many amazing things. I think I've learned a lot of hacks tonight. First of all, I definitely didn't know I wondered always about the rainbow ice cream. So I feel like I've really gained tonight. And just it's been a full show.
I feel like I'm going to take out my macaron mat and actually maybe try and make macarons for the first time. I feel greatly inspired.
No, I cannot believe you have a macaron mat, because I don't even have a macaron mat.
Yes, but then again, I've never used my macaron mat. But you were offering to drop off a slice of chocolate cheesecake at me tomorrow, were you not?
Absolutely, and I certainly will.
So Dan Stillerman, how do we get Dina to drop off a slice of cheesecake for you as well?
Well, I'm very, very keen. So I can actually meet you halfway, or I can send my address. I'm actually also dropping off maybe a piece of babka at you in exchange. I'll make it a win-win.
Guys, you know what Barney says, sharing is caring. I'm only too happy. I've still got to make another carrot cake. So I'm only happy to share the cheesecake.
Well, guys, we're going to get all the recipes out tomorrow to the 1,000-odd people who've watched us this evening. It's been such a fun night, but it looks like so much hard work, some of that stuff. I'm not sure I'm willing to try a lot of it, but it's Shavuot coming up in 2 days' time, so we're going to take a little break from some of the Zoom sessions that we've been doing. We'll be back on Sunday evening with part 2 of our sports panel, because we still got interviews with people like Ali Bakr and the people from the Comrades Marathon and Bruce Fordyce. We've got interviews with all of them that we're really going to be talking about on Sunday evening for a second evening of sport. And we've had a few requests from people because it's time for kids to go back to school, or maybe not. And maybe we should be consulting with some of the medical professionals on when do you allow your kid to go back to school, when is it safe for them, when is it safe for you in your own home, and we'll be looking at that in the week or so to come. So we'll see everyone again on Sunday evening. A huge thank you to everyone to watch. Once again, to the best chef in Johannesburg, Dan Stillerman, the Ferran Adria of his generation in Joburg.
I don't know. I can make a coffee. I think Shmuddy would be proud. I can make a good scrambled egg, but I don't know about any of these cakes and macarons and any of this. Eh? Leaving behind the keyboard and the screen, yeah.
Until then, you have tasted Ferran Adria's reconstructive olive. You've never lived.
Well, I don't know who that is, and I don't know what you're talking about. So can you send me a link, please, and you can educate me?
I will definitely send you a link, and maybe you can include it in. But Ferran Adria is the chef from Il Bulli, rated for probably 5 or 6 years in a row as the best chef in the world, and most famous for his reconstructive olive, which I had at Tickets Bar in Barcelona, and I suppose I've had at 1 or 2 of his other restaurants in Barcelona as well. Absolutely remarkable. Dina, a huge thank you for putting tonight's panel together.
It's a pleasure. I think we've learned so much. We've learned some good tricks. Hopefully people have got some new menus and recipes for Shavuot, and that it's an absolutely delicious one.
So Dan, we'll send out a recording because D10 has asked, will the program be emailed? We'll send out a recording to everyone. I think it's time that Dina and Dan, you had a good break over Yontif and Shabbos coming up. So we'll see all of you on Sunday evening again. Chag Sameach to everyone watching. And Dan, thanks again for everything you do for us.
Pleasure. I'm just amazed that we actually got through this evening, because my Zoom crashed in the middle of this. I couldn't see anything. Everything blacked out on my screen. The lights stayed on, but I think half of Jewish Johannesburg's lights went off, including half of our panelists. So the fact that we got through it in one piece is quite remarkable.
Well, I think it was amazing that everyone was holding up torches around Sorrel so she could do her thing. Shimuli in the dark ran out of data because his internet was down. Esty ran next door to her sister with an inverter. These are the vagaries of living in Joburg. But you know something? We've learned to live with it, and we've learned to live with it with a great smile on our face.
Absolutely.
There's never a dull moment, but sometimes there's a pitch black moment.
Well, good night to everyone. Dan, as we always say at this point in time, are you going to go have dinner now?
Well, no, I've learned, Howie. It's been 22 panels. I've learned to have my dinner nice and early. Now what I do is I go and have a late night snack. I go and see if there are any macarons in the kitchen, and I go and fuel up for my sleep.
Well, Lorenzo Landau, who's one of my next door neighbors, left a piece of cheesecake outside my front door and sent me a WhatsApp message to say, try it, he's made cheesecake. I'm going to try that for dinner right now.
Oh, wow.
You can have it as your first one. We'll have another one tomorrow.
Exactly. Cheers. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you so much, Howie. Thank you so much, Dan.
Yes, guys. Well done, Howie, Dina. Cheers. Good night.
Ciao. Bye.